Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Sunday fun day. Here we are. Let's talk some NFL. We got Darius Leonard news. All right, we got Xavier Howard news. We're watching NFL Inside Training Camp live with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on the Cash App, $ORION NWSF, or on the YouTube Super Chat. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. I found this nice little NFL collage. It's kind of from, the old school days when JJ Swat was on the Houston Texans. You got Super Cam there in the corner on the Carolina Panthers. And my boy AB. Fly like a butterfly, sting like AB. Now we're kind of checking in on the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chiefs Kingdom. Panthers fan in the building, Kettle Cuber in the building, Amber M, Early Bird gets the worm. Sup, folks? How are ya? Tashawn Mullins in the building. Yo, what to do? We had the first preseason game. Didn't really turn out as well as we thought. A lot of low scoring, but we got to see a little Micah Parsons show flashes on why I think he's going to be the best rookie in this defensive class, not named J.C. Horn from the Carolina Panthers. Odin's Child in the building right now. I know they've been doing live look-ins from the Cleveland Browns. I got to see a little bit of the Kansas City Chiefs. And like I said, it's just time for a little Q&A, anything that you guys want to spit out and talk about. And I want to bring up an important point. If you ended up watching my show last week, every day, every week, every month, I always let you guys know I got the ESP, not ESPN, but ESP. I can read the future. I say something, I talk it to an existence. If you end up watching last week's live streams, I said Michael Thomas from the New Orleans Saints are going to be at a divorce with Sean Payton. I told you this weeks before, and now it's coming out that Michael Thomas has been ignoring Sean Payton. He's been ignoring the trainers. I'm telling you, I saw this already foreshadowed and coming weeks ago when I did my broadcast. So anytime people wonder, how does this guy know? I do my research, I do my reading, I do my film study. Do I have a direct connection to Michael Thomas, MT13? No, I don't. But even though it's Can't Guard Mike, I knew once Drew Brees left, and if they start losing games, he already had it kind of butted heads a little bit with Sean Payton. So go back and watch the film. I broke this story weeks ago before they actually came out with the media yesterday and the day before, saying that there is some problems between Michael Thomas and the New Orleans Saints. I said this, so anytime you want to doubt me for knowledge, you want to doubt me for my predictions, I haven't got a Super Bowl winner wrong in the last 20 years, all right? I know what I'm talking about. It's sad. It's unfortunate. Yes, you still got AK-41, but I'm feeling MT13, Can't Guard Mike, sooner than later, he is going to get traded. They are going to try to get value for him, but it's just not going to work out. I just think that him and Sean Payton are butting heads. Drew Brees, no longer there. And if you're one of the superstars of the team and you want to be there, why wouldn't you answer your head coach's phone call, Sean Payton? Why wouldn't you? Talk to the trainers. Yes, I know you wanted to get a second opinion, on the ankle and on the leg and making sure that you can get things going. But if you would have got the surgery right after the season ended, you would be ready more than likely by week 1 or week 2. So definitely, I know it's going to hurt a little bit for Saints fans. But like I said, I called this shit weeks ago. If you go back and look at the tape, I already knew that this was coming. Now, I didn't know it was going to get, released by the media obviously yesterday or the day before, since we're in this Hall of Fame, kind of scenery celebration. But I told you so. I told you, Nola, every time I say something, I'm not going to be right 100% of the time, but I got a good pulse on the NFL. And like I said, I think it's sooner than later that this relationship is damaged, and there is no going back from it, because obviously Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill are not going to play as good as Drew Brees. He's already going to be coming in late. And like I said, with the stat line, a couple years ago, he broke the receiving, the record, obviously with the receptions. I get it. He's a guy that can be one of the top 5 wide receivers in the league, but moving forward, he's going to go somewhere else. So I don't really know how long you're going to have him, but that's, something that I broke weeks and weeks ago. And that's why you watch the Northwest Sports Fanatics, other than Sports Center and other than some of these other shows. The only ones that I can really vouch for, Good Morning Football, anything on NFL Network, and the Pat McAfee Show, besides the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Those are the ones that are going to be able to give you comedy. They're going to give it to you real, like Pat McAfee and your boy. All right, we call it right down the middle. swearing and all right, but you're going to get the right proper news that you need. Panthers fan in the building, Kettle Cuber in the building, Amber M in the building, Nyland Saints, Tashawn Mullins in the building, Odin's Child, Chiefs Kingdom in the building, Justin Wills in the building, Nola in the building. What it do? Brute Saint, MT is a fucking clown. Brute Saint. Very interesting to hear that. I know a lot of Saints fans maybe were not believing me or maybe thought I was talking shit. But, like I said, I think I have a good pulse on the NFL based off relationships. And now from going one of their, most beloved players, now people are kind of wondering, well, what can we get for him? So it's definitely disappointing, but I kind of felt that this was already foreshadowed last season if you saw kind of the butting of heads with Sean Payton and Michael Thomas. So very unfortunate. $100 million got to his head. Well, I don't know if it's just the $100 million got to his head, Brute Saint. I actually do feel at this point it's more than just the money. I feel that since Drew Brees kind of made Michael Thomas, Drew Brees is no longer there. Maybe he knows that the team isn't going to be maybe as good. There's a chance that they maybe don't make the playoffs. Maybe he doesn't get as many good opportunities and targets for himself to look good. So I definitely think that a lot of big names are going to be out the door within the next year or two. Devontae Adams, more than likely out the door. Next year, you got Michael Thomas, a top 5 wide receiver, more than likely out the door. And they already are very thin at wide receiving and the tight end core. They got pieces, Troutman that's going to come in as a second-year player. Obviously Jared Cook had the fumbling problems. I get it, right? No more Emmanuel Sanders. You got a lot of these rookies and a lot of the other guys that are normally maybe second option, third option, fourth option, trying to be a first option while MT is gone. Definitely disappointing, but sometimes, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. And like I said, I broke that story weeks ago. If you go back and look at the film, I already said this, and a lot of the Saints fan maybe didn't believe me, but now it's coming out by the media that this is the real deal. I saw the foreshadowing on the wall. Unfortunate, but we'll see what happens. But you're going to have him this year, but beyond this year, who knows? Nola, so he got paid big money, went ghost. I ain't tripping as long as we get good draft picks and a decent player, but you're not going to be able to probably get draft picks that are the same kind of level as Michael Thomas. I mean, Michael Thomas is a top 10 wide receiver. At one point, he was number 1 in the league. Now he's slid down because it's a prove-it league. Just because you broke the reception record a couple years ago, don't mean shit in the NFL circles. You got to do it consistently year in and year out. He got hurt last year, so that's why you don't hear him in top 5 categories. He's still maybe a top 10 wide receiver, but you need to make sure that you have a good season once you come back. And since you're already going to be missing the first 5 or 6 weeks, you're already at a disadvantage. So if he ends up getting hurt again or having an off year, chances are he won't be considered a top 10 wide receiver until he has that next, 80 reception, 90 reception, 100 reception year, hopefully 9 touchdowns or more, because 9 is kind of his wheelhouse, is where he's usually sitting at. And that was with Drew Brees. Definitely, I think a guy could get double-digit touchdowns. But it's interesting to keep an eye on. Same thing with Xavier Howard. Complain. Give me a new fucking contract. I want out. And obviously they restructured, so he's going to be there. And good for him. You had Byron Jones. Byron Jones? He wasn't even the number 1 paid corner on his team. Byron Jones was for the Dolphins, and they are going to need it, Tua especially, to have one of the top 3 corners in the league playing. It's going to be very, very important. And then you saw the little screenshot. All right, you saw my little thumbnail. Darius Leonard, $98.5 million contract, 5 years, making him the highest paid inside linebacker in NFL history until my boy Devin White, as you can see, I got the jersey on now. Once his contract is up, he'll definitely be beating that number, guaranteed. But I think right now, as far as linebackers are concerned, Devin White, Darius Leonard, Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner, those are the best right now in the league. Hybrid in the building. AK-41 needs the hell out of there. I feel bad for him. Hybrid. Odin's Child. Chris Jones coming off the edge is going to be nuts. And that is a big facts. Let's see here. And this is a Q&A, so anything that you guys want to talk about, let me know. Brute Saint says, doesn't matter if our team wouldn't be as good. You don't quit on them. And that's what I see in MT now. A quitter, maybe he can change, but I doubt it. Now, it's a good point, and it's very startling there at that point. Also, Brute Saint, I know you have I know you have StreamYard. If you want me to post the link in here, like I said, I don't think there's a lot of people that maybe have fast enough internet or a YouTube account. But if you want to join me on the show today or sometime in the near future, just comment below. And that way, if you want to talk a little Saints, you want to talk a little bit with the fans. I know you're another one of those people that I know. I feel that, obviously have as a mod. And if you want to be able to hop on, like I had Philly in the building, obviously a couple days ago for the Thursday night game, the special, obviously with the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL Hall of Fame game. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. It's Sunday. Like I said, your boy's grinding. I've been up early. I've already been up for the last, 6 hours, 7 hours. So I actually wanted to do this live stream a couple hours ago, but I thought, shit, maybe at 10 a.m. here on Pacific Coast time, and then maybe it's like 12 or 1. Who knows if you guys are awake or, you're at church or you got other shit going on. But I'm always grinding. I can't wait for the next game. We got the Washington football team and the New England Patriots, I believe at 5 p.m. NFL Network on Thursday. So I'm going to be doing a live stream for that as well. But just a few stories, obviously, with the NFL Network going on right now. I got Inside Training Camp live on. Xavier Howard restructures the deal. That's big news. Then you got the Darius Leonard big contract. And obviously, every player that gets to that point where the extension or the new contract is up, they're going to get paid. The next one will be a bigger and bigger and bigger deal. Just like in the quarterbacks, you go from like a Patrick Mahomes. We had Josh Allen a couple days ago. Next up is going to be like a Lamar Jackson. So it'll be interesting to see on how the contracts and obviously with the money, with the cap, it's going to get higher and higher and higher for a lot of these guys. But I'm definitely excited to see what happens. Let's see here. Hey, it's all good, man. He said, can't join today. Hey, it's all good, man. Yeah, but if you ever want to join, don't be scared. You know what I mean? Obviously, the Saints fans like you. You have a good, open opinion about the roster, not too biased. I mean, obviously, you're going to have some bias, just like any fan of any sports team. But, just having a little bit of realism there. But anytime you want to hop on, let me know. Let's see. Nola's got a question here. So he says, so if we trade him, what do you think you'll get, bro? Well, that's a good question. Is he worth a first-round pick? Yeah. But if he gets hurt again after coming back by like week 5, week 6, you're probably not going to get a first rounder for him because we've already seen the attitude towards Sean Payton and the organization. You've already seen him be kind of beat up and hurt the last 2 years. And then obviously coming off this surgery, we don't know if he can make it after he comes back and there's a chance that he can re-aggravate it. So in all realistic circumstances, he's probably going to be getting traded off for like a second or third rounder. Now, if he can revitalize his career back when he broke the receptions record, that's great. But something kind of tells me he might be going down a path like Odell Beckham Jr., where you were one of the best top 5 wide receivers in the league. And then injuries, just like AJ Green as well, another top 5 wide receiver. Injuries kind of got to the guy. And maybe it's more about the money. Maybe it's more about the fame. Maybe he doesn't really have the love for the game. You know how football players are two different breeds. You either love the game and you've loved it ever since you were in Pop Warner, you're a kid, or you're about the money now and the girls and going out to eat and the cars and, the drugs and the drinking and all everything that goes along with having a lot of money, the partying scene, the cars, the houses, the mansions, the parties, going out with the clubs. I mean, some guys, that's what it's about for them. And I'm not saying that's Michael Thomas, but I mean, right now, not getting the surgery on that time, ignoring the phone calls, definitely very selfish. We don't know the whole reasoning behind it, but maybe he is unhappy. Maybe he sees the team being shitty this year. And obviously, in return, you're not going to really get equal trade value. You could if you ended up getting like a second or third rounder and they ended up panning out like an AK-41 situation when we ended up, getting him later in the draft. He wasn't first round. He wasn't second round. When you get a third or fourth rounder, they can, blow up. But it all depends on who your quarterback is at that point. Offensive line is good. Sean Payton will be there, but you need to be able to get weapons. And if you lose Michael Thomas, like I said, it could end up being a good thing for the organization moving forward and getting someone that could be, reliable, someone that they could have. And then it also makes you kind of wonder, God, what would have been if you could have gotten a guy like Justin Jefferson in the draft, or if you would have went for more wide receivers early. instead of going for Peyton Turner. Now you're starting to see that, all the pieces are not there. You know what I mean? The offense looks completely different. Defense is going to be completely different. The only thing that's really been stable is the offensive line and the head coach. So we'll see what happens, but I'm definitely interested to see what kind of value. But I guarantee they don't get a first rounder for him because now he's been injury prone for 2 years. And like I said, there's a great chance once he comes back, he doesn't play hard, plays when he wants to, takes plays off. And obviously I don't think he'll necessarily maybe get benched because they're going to try to win games with him in there because he'll be their best option besides AK-41 catching the football and getting some touchdowns this season. But this is the beginning of the end. And I already said this in the broadcast 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago. I already foreshadowed this and I told you, I remember Nola, I told you, and no one really wanted to believe. And now the story is coming out that officially through NFL.com and the Saints organization that he has been ignoring, for months, not just a couple calls, but for months, with the trainers and the head coach. That doesn't sound like someone that wants to be there. And maybe, like I said, he knows that maybe the team is not going to be good. But still, with that being said, I'm not sure if this is the right way to go about getting traded. But don't expect to see Michael Thomas in a Saints uniform past this year. I would say in the next 2 to 3 years, more than likely next year, that's the year that they're going to trade him and try to get the best that you can get from him. And that's facts. Let's see here. Amber in the building. What to do? Let me go through here. And I'm going to go through everyone's questions. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to, I don't skip anybody out here. So 1 sec. Let me go back here. Panthers fan, Kettle Cuber, Amber M, Tashawn Mullins, Odin Child, Justin Wills, Nola, Brute Saint, Hybrid. What to do? Let's see here. Justin Wills. And I'll get to you in a second here as well. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Sunday. Turn on NFL Network at this point. If you're looking for something to watch, got this one of my favorite backgrounds, this one, the old school drop of Cam and AB and JJ Watt here behind me. Wanted to do something kind of special. Justin Wills says, who you think got a better chance to win Defensive Player of the Year, Brian Burns or Jeremy Chin? Good question. Both guys are studs. I love both of them, obviously, for the Carolina Panthers. Hashtag keep pounding. I don't think either one is going to be in that conversation. Not saying that they're not good players. We've seen Jeremy Chin, can score touchdowns on defense on consecutive plays. We can tell that he's one of the up-and-coming stars of the league. Brian Spider Burns from Florida State. RIP Bobby Bowden. Saw that today. So obviously Florida State's, greatest coach of all time passed away today, I believe at 91, because your boy's always reading and is always on top of everything. I like both guys. Brian Spider Burns could be a breakout guy this season as well, but they're going to need J.C. Horn, Burns, and Chin, everyone to work together. So I don't think either one. Like I said, you got to think the front runner every year is going to be Aaron Donald. And that's just big facts. It's usually going to be either a, D tackle, DN, or linebacker. It's going to be very rare. It's going to be like a corner or a safety. But I'll tell you what, as a Bucs fan and a very hardcore Bucs fan, I have a lot of love for AK-41. I have a lot of love for Cameron Jordan. I have a lot of love for Demario Davis. I have a lot of love for Brian Spider Burns, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, my favorite rookie in this defensive draft, not named Micah Parsons on the Dallas Cowboys. I like Run CMC. There's a lot of other guys out there as well. When Julio was on Atlanta, great. You got Calvin Ridley there, which I love. You got Kyle Pitts, amazing. So even though it might be players in the division, I don't have to hate on them. I would take Brian Spider Burns and Jeremy Chin, on my team in a heartbeat. But if I had to answer your question out of one or the other, the guy that makes more splash plays is Jeremy Chin right now. But obviously we need Brian Spider Burns to take that next leap in his game. Obviously as far as big plays, he might be able to be more consistent. But Jeremy Chin is a great player. And like I said, kind of an unknown that just came out onto the league and onto the scene. I absolutely love him. And that's big facts. Brute saying, doesn't matter if our team wouldn't be as good, you don't quit on them. And that's what I see in MT now, a quitter. Maybe he can change. I doubt it, but his personality doesn't really seem like that. But the thing is, Brute saying, Nola says, AK-41 got paid. And it's not about getting paid. You guys have to realize that. It's not about the money. It's if Drew Brees is no longer there, he obviously thinks in his head, that the team's going to suck. They're not going to be good. The regime, the window of championship, opportunities is over. So, AK-41 can get paid, but it all depends if you want to be there or if you're a selfish player or you're a me player or you're a team player. You know what I mean? And so maybe he did the facade when Drew was there because he knew he had a good opportunity to make himself look good. He did come from the Ohio State University. Right now, the Ohio State University's got some of the best college football players in the nation, year in and year out, just like Alabama and Clemson. You know, Ohio State is right up there at the very, very top, right? But a lot of those guys kind of have an edge to them, and sometimes they don't get along with everyone. Let's remember, Zeke Elliott from the Ohio State University has some issues, kind of more of a me player than a team player. He's gotten in trouble in the law and had some issues, you know, throughout his career. A lot of these Ohio State guys, you know, they got the swag, but maybe they're a little bit more selfish than we thought. Every player on every college is going to be different. But again, some guys play for the love of the game. Some guys play for the money and what it all entails for them in that party scene and whatnot. And some guys just don't care. You know, they just care about their stats, their touchdowns, maybe more than actually the Saints W's in the end of the day, which is sad. Let's see here. Scrolling down. Let me get in here. Let's see. Just like I was saying, Amber M, think MT don't want to play since Breeze retired. Not a lot of hope and belief, I think, for Jameis or Taysom Hill. Not trying to hate. I just feel that, you know, you're going from a Hall of Famer to a guy that's just going to be a Band-Aid temporarily for you guys. Ian Book is not the answer either. You guys definitely have to go somewhere else. And once you guys get your Ryan Tannehill, your Kirk Cousins kind of quarterback, then you guys can be able to be dominant again. But until that happens, or you end up getting like a top 5 pick, a rookie, you're going to be kind of probably average to mediocre, you know, until that happens. So that's just facts. I mean, you could still end up getting 8 or 9 wins, but that doesn't equal playoffs. That doesn't equal a Lombardi-worthy team, and that's big facts. Amber says, but bro, for years, I've been wanting to draft a wide receiver. Sucks we have to force our hand since the team is falling apart. And it's sad. I mean, like I said, you know what I mean? Obviously, Nola would love to clown me like how bad my team was over the years. But the thing is, it's all about your organization at the top. You got to have a good owner, a good GM. You got to have good coaches, good coordinators. All that shit matters to me more really than the players. You know, if you end up having a good guys at the top, it trickles down. You can have an average quarterback turn good or great with great coaching and a great organization with obviously great, you know, leaders that are in that locker room as well. So obviously you can have guys like Patrick Mahomes, but to take a Patrick Mahomes type of talent and take it to the next level, everything has to be running smoothly right from the top. And you don't really see that very often. And that's big facts. Let's see here. Justin Wills, who's your early MVP prediction? It's hard to go against like a Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, there's a few guys that I really, really like that I think that could have amazing seasons. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, those probably got to be the front runners, you know, in the AFC. And then, you know, your Aaron Rodgers, you know, your Tom Brady, you know, those type of guys in the NFC, you know, maybe even a sleeper dark horse, a Matthew Stafford, if they can keep everyone healthy there as well. But if I had to pick those guys, those would probably be my 5 guys that I would be looking at. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, obviously in the NFC, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen in the AFC. And there could be other guys that could have great seasons like Lamar Jackson. There's definitely an opportunity there with Rashad Bateman. I think he's going to ball out, but it'll be very interesting to see where it goes. Now we got the Seahawks on the screen. DK Metcalf, Tyler get to the door and lock it, Russell Wilson. I hung out with my boy Marcos yesterday. Big Seahawk fan, big Oregon State Beaver fan, Blazer fan, but more importantly, he's a big Oregon State Beaver fan, a Mia Duck fan, so obviously we're rivals there. But he's a big Seahawk fan, so I'll have him on the show, my boy Corey Parrish on the show, Kelsey, you know, one of my girls that I went to high school with, I'll have her on the show as well. She's good at fantasy football, loves the Seahawks, goes to the games. And I told them, you know, at this point with the Seahawks, they're probably going to be that third team that makes it in the NFC West. Niners, Rams, they're in, but it's either going to be the Cardinals or the Seahawks that get in. And it's really going to depend on that O-line and the defense. Russell can take them so far. And also on the Cardinals side, it's almost like it's the Cardinals to win. You know, if they fuck up, that's on them. I mean, you ended up getting J.J. Watt, you have Budda Baker, you have Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones, right? You got James Atemaneta-Kana, Chase Edmonds. Kyler Murray's got A.J. Green now. Like, there's no excuses now with Kyler Murray. I mean, it's like this is the year that you need to make it. And if you end up fucking up in December like you did last year, Seattle will definitely take it. Russell Wilson is a top 3 quarterback. Some people think top 2. So if you sleep on Russell like we have been these last few years, we've known that the Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch are not coming back in the door, and they're not that same dominant team. O-line, D-line needs work. They don't draft the right players. Schneider and Carroll probably both have to go. If they don't make the playoffs this year, a good chance that they both get fired or one of them gets fired, and they probably need to. Pete Carroll is a good players coach. Schneider has been a okay GM. In my opinion, if you knew after the Legion of Boom and Marshawn were leaving and you had Russell there, that window for the Super Bowl closed. So what you should have been doing, instead of drafting guys like Penny at running back, you should have been drafting O-line heavy every single fucking year and D-line, getting guys, to help Bobby Wagner, get some guys in the secondary. Like, what happened? Like, if you knew your O-line was one of the worst in the league and your D-line was one of the worst in the league, why did you not address it? So that's a big part of me. I know DK Metcalf is sexy, but I would rather have a Tyler Lockett, Russell Wilson, and a Carson, right? And then have an all-pro Quentin Nelson-ish lineman there helping the pass blocking and the run blocking. So, Russell Wilson's not getting, 30, 40, 50 sacks on him each season. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I know that to be able to win Super Bowls and to be able to get to NFC, AFC championship games, you have to have a good O-line and D-line. You have to get to the quarterback for sack lunches, which Madden stole from me, and everyone loves to mention it. You get to the quarterback, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is. It's time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. I know, Madden, you stealing my shit. All right. I don't get no trademarks. I don't get no money. All right. But you need to get to the quarterback, and the offensive line needs to be able to protect pass block, run block, pull, if you have some athletic offensive linemen. So that's kind of my opinion right now. But Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and obviously you got to throw in Matthew Stafford. And that's big facts. Let's see here. Nola, you think Peyton can't turn Winston elite? Fuck no. And this is not me just hating on Jameis. No one believes. I mean, like I said, there's no Sean Payton. I don't know what you think, if he's God or if he's like the second best thing since sliced bread. Sean Payton is Hall of Fame, but there's a lot of coaches that are better than Sean Payton, but no coach, Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, Bruce Arians, you can go back with Lombardi. There's nobody that can teach this guy to be elite, for my personal opinion. I mean, if you're a knucklehead on and off the field, all right, you know what I mean? People aren't going to respect you. He's been a knucklehead and entitled at Florida State. He could have played baseball or played football, but he puts too much pressure on himself being the number one pick. I think that he thought that he was better than he was. And then bottom line is you have to earn it and learn it on that next level. And I don't think anyone, Sean Payton, nobody's going to turn Winston elite. Period. You could still have, the weapons that I have, the better O-line, the better coaching. You know what I mean? But you're not going to be able to get far if you turn over the football, and that's his problem. His decision-making cannot be fixed, all right? He can talk the talk. He can go out there, and you can see him do funny videos on Twitter and Instagram. But the bottom line is do people respect him? Do people believe in him? Fuck no, they don't, because they already seen him fail. And obviously, once you're broken, he might be a Carson Wentz, and he might be fucking broken forever. But he just turns the football over too much. Can he throw for 5,000 yards? Yes. All right. Does he have a strong arm? Yes. At some points, can he look like a top 10 quarterback? Yes, he can. But consistency is key, and he don't got it. There's a lot of turnovers in the third and fourth quarter, a lot of pick sixes, a lot of interceptions, a lot of bad reads, a lot of staring down receivers when you shouldn't. He should have been learning this. And then even with the LASIK, it'll get a little bit better. Obviously, he'll be able to see a little bit better. It's not like he was completely blind out there. All right. But I don't think that's going to help his decision-making. Like I said, he's just one of those guys that just turns the football over, and I don't know if you're going to be able to improve that. You're never going to see, in my opinion, a Jameis Winston throw less than 10 picks in his career. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And obviously with the team that you guys have right now, who's he throwing to? You know what I mean? He doesn't have elite guys out there to help him out. Yeah, you got AK-41, but that's one guy that can catch passes out of the backfield. So to answer your question, fuck no. All right. I wouldn't want him on my team. I had him, like I said, with the roster and the coaching staff that I have now. If Jameis came back, could we make the playoffs? Yeah, but we're not going to go anywhere. We could get to a wild card and maybe win like 9 or 10 games, but it's not going to be the same type of, team with like Tom Brady led. There's a different type of swag and energy. You know what I mean? And a lot of times if you're a number 1, number 2 pick, it's almost a curse unless you're really one of the legends, like a Peyton Manning who went into the Hall of Fame. That guy you saw in college, you knew that he was going to be a Hall of Famer if you watched him at Tennessee. There's certain guys have certain intangibles, that they're going to work harder, they're going to study harder. They take the blame, and certain quarterbacks are just better than others, bottom line. But Jameis Winston, to me, will never, ever be a Pro Bowler. There's a better chance that he actually plays his last season starting on any team after this year, and he might end up being a career backup after this season. Facts. Let's see here. Let's see what Justin Wills says. He said, yes, I think Peyton can't turn Winston elite. Yeah, that's definitely not happening. You guys would have a better shot with Taysom Hill, but in that circumstance, that takes away his Swiss Army knife ability, from running back, tight end, special teams. So sure, but Winston would need to have an MVP caliber season, but if not, no one on our quarterback roster is our franchise. No, let's just be honest. I mean, I tell people that are Denver Broncos fans, and they ask me about Teddy Bridgewater, and obviously Paxton Lynch and Drew Lock. No, you got to, I'm being real with you guys, and you guys know it too. You just have to admit it to yourself. When you got guys like Paxton Lynch, and you had guys like for the Denver Broncos, with Teddy Two Gloves, or you got a Drew Lock. Those guys aren't the future. You can't go from John Elway to Peyton Manning to those guys. You're going to need better. You can't go from Drew Brees to these guys. It has to be better. So you can get a guy like a Kirk Cousins, a player like that, or maybe like a Ryan Tannehill. And I'm telling you, even if you don't like Kirk Cousins and you don't like Ryan Tannehill, if you had those two guys, you could be on the borderline of a playoff team, a legitimate one, but you still need weapons. The tight end position is a little unproven. We'll see what Troutman can do. Obviously, Cook was kind of like an aging vet, fumble problems. I get it, but sometimes he played good for you guys. Let's not forget that. I know you guys, some of them are hating on him, thinking that he's the reason why you guys lost a lot of your games. There's been some big turnovers, yes, but he's done some positive things for you, and he was always a guy that was up and down from whatever team that he went to. He's never really been consistent every year, and that's why he's been bouncing around from team to team to team. Duh, no shit. All right. Let's see here. Nola says, we got a top 3 coach in the NFL, but do you really believe that, though? I mean, if you guys make the playoffs with this roster, yeah, definitely you can say he's a top 3 coach, but I think there's other coaches out there that definitely would debate that. You know what I mean? He's definitely one of the better coaches in the NFL, but obviously he's not that good if he can't even, link up with Michael Thomas, and that's supposed to be your best player on the roster, not name AK-41 on the offense. Obviously, it doesn't look like he's that top 3 coach, because if you're a top 3 coach, you got to be able to work with guys. Guys got to be able to work with you. So obviously there's some kind of disconnect, and it happened last season. So that's why I already knew that was going to be the issue there. Skyler in the building. What to do? Devin White jersey looks sick. Thank you. There we go. Got to get a white one, though. Definitely got to get a white one. A Devin White sewn jersey. I'd rather get that than a Tom Brady or anything else. We got the Panthers here camp. See, I love NFL training camp. See, a lot of y'all, you might be, only watching the regular season or very rarely in preseason, or you just want to fuck with me and join the broadcast and hang out. But I mean, I love every single little thing about the NFL training camp, little news. I'm reading 5 to 6 hours a day and watching film on all the teams. So I can't get enough. And that's why you can see the passion, the energy, the dedication, the voice, and obviously the commitment that I have to this game that we call the NFL. Let's see here. Amber M, very good fact. Anyone sleeps on Dangerous is a clown. That's facts. Now Nola's taking drugs. Don't be surprised if we win it in 5 years in a row. Now, yeah, get off the drugs, my guy. Get off the drugs. And I know you don't do drugs, so don't be making yourself look dumb like that. Slow down. Slow down. So Amber M, slow down, Nola. Slow down. Jared Cook blocked you on Instagram. Yeah, I wonder why, because you're like the biggest shit talker on planet Earth and you're biased as hell. You're my boy, all right? You got the work ethic. You're trying to do your dream, but damn, bro, sometimes the shit that you say on Instagram needs to be left in your head, all right? You can't be talking shit. Like I said, and that's not a good look for you as a Saints fan, all right? You're supposed to ride or die for your players, good, bad, and ugly, all right? And the last thing that you would need, it almost shows you that you're a fair weather fan. You're going to be talking shit about a guy that, tried to at least be there. That's a lot more than you can say for Michael Thomas, a guy that you liked a lot more, like AK-41. At least he tried. At least he was about the Saints. At least he helped you try to win. Yeah, he had some fumbles, but that wasn't his fault. That's this great play from guys like my boy Devin White punching the football out. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's not necessarily the player. It might be who they're going against. Because in all reality, in the playoffs, if you go back and watch the film, anybody that would have, punched that football out the way that Devin White did, or a Levante David, or anyone that was on my defense, they're going to be fumbling that probably 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 at the tight end position. I don't care if it's Kelsey or Cook, or any of the rest, Andrews, Waller from the Raiders, So you can't be talking shit to a guy It's not a good look, man. I'm just saying, even if you don't like a guy. I never went to Jameis Winston's fucking Instagram and started fucking talking shit to him to have him block me. You got to be more mature. You know what I mean? Be more mature, Nola. All right? Stop acting a little bit more your age. Stop it with this like high school attitude type shit. You know, you're too good for that. You're never going to get signed if you have that high school attitude. All right? And that's facts. You need to be able to be more mature. More mature, my guy. Be more mature. Let's see. Of course, what was this? Oh, I had some dirty words for him. Well, I know you did. I know you did. Amber M in the building here. I'm trying to get to everyone's comments. Appreciate every single one of y'all in the building. So you think J.C. Horn will become a generational talent? I do. That's one player out of like all of these players in this draft. My two favorite, and you know I like defense, and that's what I watch the most. I love J.C. Horn from the Panthers. I think he's going to be like the next Jalen Ramsey, Jair Alexander, Xavier Howard. He's going to be Gilmore. He's going to be like one of those guys. I truly think that. He's going to have times where he gets burnt. He's going to have times where, he looks bad, but I think overall he's not going to be like an Okudah from the Lions, just cursed with that organization. I think this guy, J.C. Horn, there's a reason why the Panthers picked him. And if you remember, I was one of the only ones on social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, on TV, or any podcast that predicted that the Panthers would get J.C. Horn. I mean, I got like 13 of the first 15 picks right, and it would have been 14 out of 15 if they would have ended up going up for my boy Penei Sewell instead of going for Jamar Chase with the Bengals. They should have went O-line, but they wanted to go that Burrow-Chase connection from college, from LSU for the Bengals. But I do love J.C. Horn, and like I said, I knew that he was going to go there over Surtain, right? Because even though Surtain is a great cover corner, who's got more swag? Usually it's the guys on Alabama, but these other guys in the SEC, either a South Carolina school or the others, you could just tell that he had the dog in him. And the Panthers are usually known for having dogs, having guys like a Cam Newton, right? Having a guy like Run CMC, Brian Spider Burns, a Julius Peppers from the past. They had guys, that really have the drip and the confidence and the swag. And like I said, it just seemed like a better fit that he had that confidence and that shit talking ability, but could back it up, walk the walk, talk the talk. And like I said, I don't think Patrick Surtain is going to be a bad player. I think he should be a pretty damn good corner, obviously, for Denver for years to come, unless they use him in trade bait for like an Aaron Rodgers deal next year. But I would assume that they wouldn't have that no-fly zone, try to come back like they used to have with my boy TJ Ward from Oregon from back in the day. But I absolutely love J.C. Horn on a higher level. Him and Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. If you watch that NFL Hall of Fame game that I did a live stream. I had my boy Philly on the program, which was kind of cool. He's from California, big Eagles fan. But watching J.C. Horn on film, watching him on, on all the different tape that I can get access to, reading the articles, doing the training camp, I definitely think that there is a better chance of him having a higher potential than Surtain. And like I said, he is going to be the one that I watch the most this season on defense for rookies besides Micah Parsons. And Parsons already showed out, recovering a fumble, chasing down guys. I think that if you really look at it, J.C. Horn at some point could be a top 5 corner. And I think Micah Parsons can be in that category for being a top 5 linebacker in this league. Not right away, but after what we see what they do, this season, I think it's going to open up a lot of eyes. Will J.C. Horn get over 5 picks? It's not likely that he does because it's hard for picks to adjust and get rookies to get those amount of picks. But if anyone could get to 5 picks or more, obviously I think J.C. Horn and Surtain could both do it. It just depends on man or zone or dime or nickel or quarters or just like in Madden. As you know, you go through your different formations. And then Micah Parsons, obviously, he already is a step ahead because he already got out there on the NFL Hall of Fame game. He was the best linebacker from Penn State. He does remind me of a Devin White, a Darius Leonard, a Fred Warner, a Bobby Wagner. So I think those two guys are going to be fantastic, and they're going to be very, very fun to watch. And I'm a Bucs fan. So it's not like I'm hating. I'm a fan of the game, of all the teams and all the talent. So even if they're on a rival team like the Panthers, like a J.C. Horn or an AK-41 in the Saints, I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I recognize greatness, and I ask myself one fucking question every time. Would I want that player on my team representing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to talk good about him because I think that he's awesome. That he's got all the boxes crossed. Now, some of these guys that I evaluate from college might not be as good as we anticipate. Maybe it's injuries, maybe it's mental, maybe it's physical, a little bit of both. But I definitely like both of those guys tremendously. And I guarantee they're going to be must-see TV to be able to watch. Now, let's see here. So J.C. Horn will win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and yes, he'll be a generational talent. I think it's going to be really hard for J.C. Horn to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Honestly, I mean, I think he'll be up there, like right at the top, 2 or 3. There'll also be surprise guys like, when you had like a Jeremy Chin kind of come out of nowhere. But Micah Parsons at the linebacker position, if you're going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, it almost always is going to be a D tackle, a DN, or a linebacker. I mean, it's like, very, very tough for it to be a safety or a corner. I mean, the only way that you're going to be able to see J.C. Horn outdo Micah Parsons stat-wise, because Micah's going to be able to do tackles, fumble recoveries, interceptions, sack lunches. He's going to provide a little bit more on the stat line. What you got to hope for is that J.C. Horn gets like 7 to 10 picks. Now, if he gets 7 to 10 picks, his rookie season, then that might lift up the votes. But also on top of that, if he gets 7 picks, but Micah Parsons has like 5, and then like 4 or 5 fumble recoveries and maybe 5, 6 sack lunches, like it's going to look a little bit more heavy on the stat, line for a Micah Parsons. So I don't think that he'll have a shot to win, but do I love him? And do I think that he's going to be one of the, up and coming top 10 corners in the league for the future for many, many years to come, and a top 10 linebacker for Micah Parsons for many years to come? Yeah, absolutely. And I do my research and I watch a lot of film, watch these guys play in college. So I know for a fact, when I evaluate players, which is one of my favorite things to do, evaluate players and watch film, besides fantasy football and, the Northwest Sports Fanatics for life, baby. I'm all about it, but that's what I truly feel. Let's see here. Let's see here. The Last Saint. Do you think the Saints will sweep you guys again? What do you think? Obviously, if my team brought back all 22 starters, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, got an amazing rookie in Tryon from UW to replace JPP after this year if he decides to go. Tom Brady's back. Suckup is back, the kicker. Oh, Byron Leftwich is back at OC. Todd Bowles got a 3-year extension. You got Bruce Arians, a top 12 coach that's in the league right now. You could probably say top 10 if you want to be even generous, maybe top 5, borderline 5, 6, somewhere in that range. But, he did win a Super Bowl. He is a Super Bowl guru at quarterback. Obviously, look at your roster. No Drew Brees, right? He's gone. Michael Thomas gone. Doesn't want to be on the team anymore. All right, Onyemata, PEDs. All right, Sheldon Rankin's gone. Right, Janoris, Jackrabbit Jenkins gone. You got Demario Davis. You got Cameron Jordan. You got Lattimore. Right, you got Harris at special teams. You got some guys, but the best one you got is AK-41, Alvin Kamara. But I mean, do we even split? You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have been the dominant team in the NFC South for a long time. In the last 4 years, you have the most regular season wins out of any team in the NFL, but it didn't lead to any Super Bowls. And now the depth is gone. So, I mean, I think that there's still a chance that if you guys play good football, that maybe we split one game and one game. But I think most people think the Buccaneers, we're going to probably go 6-0 in the division. And if we don't go 6-0, it'll probably be 5-1. And it could be Atlanta, the Panthers, or the Saints winning a game. But I think we've earned the respect. We were a bad team from 2008 to 2019. I won Super Bowl 37 against the Raiders with John Gruden and Monty Kiffin, one of the best combos at head coach and D coordinator. And now you're seeing another one, a top 10 coach in Bruce Arians, and arguably, to me, the best defensive coordinator in the game right now in Todd Bowles. He could get a head coaching job like this, right? But I want to keep him around. Because then if I have to have him as my head coach, I think that's what direction I would want to go. Keep Byron Leftwich there, move Todd Bowles the head coach, and then find another awesome defensive guru to come in. I would love to have Mike Tomlin on my roster. So at some point when the Steelers, if BA retires and Steelers fire Mike Tomlin, like let's say they get 4th in the AFC North and the Bengals beat him out, Big Ben is going to retire, right? And they decide to fire Mike Tomlin. He has the coaching tree leads to Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? He used to be here during that Super Bowl run. So, I mean, a lot of guys, like him. A lot of guys don't like him. Obviously he's had a winning record every year that he's been there besides one. He's proven that he can do it. I think that he'd be a great coach as a replacement for BA. So as I talk this into existence, because I have ESP, there's also things like Dalvin Cook joining the Buccaneers. I have a strong feeling that could happen, with my little ESP that's floating around. And I know some of y'all probably thinking that shit is crazy. It's not going to happen. And then sometimes that shit happens. You know what I mean? Like I talked about Leonard Fournette. Boom, it happened. But obviously the Mike Tomlin, Dalvin Cook thing seems kind of crazy. But is it really? If Mike Tomlin came from the coaching tree with John Gruden and Monty Kiffin in Tampa Bay and he gets fired, where would he want to go? Tampa Bay would be great. We'd love to have him, and I think we could win with him, and it would be a good, head coach to be able to grow with and, see if he can do it here. right? And then obviously on the flip side, as you're looking at head coaches and other players, Dalvin Cook, where did he play? Florida State. So if he played at Florida State, a lot of Florida State players love here Florida with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm thinking at some point that might be post-Brady era or right at the end of the Brady era, but there might be an opportunity, depending on if we win again this year or get very close, that after that, if Dalvin Cook becomes available and Minnesota doesn't pay him, what if Dalvin Cook comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? That would be a dream come true. That's the type of running back that I would want on my roster, since AK-41 more than likely will be a Saint for his career, or at least they would be smart to do that, obviously with all these other pieces leaving. But Dalvin Cook to Tampa Bay in the next couple years, if it happens, you heard it here first. Your boy's got the ESP. And Mike Tomlin would be a great opportunity to come back to Tampa Bay if he gets fired from the Steelers, because there's a lot of guys that are going to be on the bubble of getting fired. Mike Tomlin, if they don't make the playoffs, and definitely Pete Carroll and John Schneider in Seattle. If they don't make the playoffs and it ends up being the Niners, the Rams, and obviously the Cardinals with Kyler taking that jump, it might be time to be able to get rid of those guys or both, but I'm not sure if they're going to do it. But they definitely need, if they want Russell Wilson to stay or want to stay, you should have already been building up that O-line and that D-line for years after that Super Bowl run. You know, you had a couple years and then it ended, and then you didn't do anything about it. And then you ended up just reaching for guys like Penny at running back, which was fucking stupid. You should have been going for O-line and D-line. But that's the difference between great organizations, good organizations, and elite organizations. You can still win a Super Bowl, but, you know, it is what it is. So to answer your question, do you think the Saints will sweep you guys again? You guys will be lucky to even win a game against us. Let's be honest. And if you end up playing the Panthers, in all reality, they might beat you. Now, the Falcons, you should still be able to beat them unless Calvin Ridley goes off and Matt Ryan is in the zone or Kyle Pitts just burns y'all. All right. So realistically, you would think you would go at least 3-3 in the division, but it's not going to be like past years. You got way too many losses. Tampa Bay is obviously the Super Bowl champs, Tampa Bay. We are going to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. You know, in the rankings right now, it's us and Kansas City at the very top, with the Packers and the Rams, Niners, a few others on the NFC side. And then you got the Browns and the Bills, the Titans, and a few others on the AFC side. All right. But I hope it's competitive. I mean, I hope it ends up going down to the wire and we have a good game. I don't want blowouts, even though I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. It's like, if we won every game by 20 or more, I wouldn't like that. I like the drama of the NFL. I like losing games in the NFL as long as they're not the big ones like in the playoffs. That wasn't a jab at you Saints fans, but, you know, it's like, I like the emotion, you know, of having the ups and then having the downs. I mean, I'm a fighter. You know, I've always gone through all kinds of depression and different things in my life, and, you know, friends that are my friends and then no longer friends, and having issues come up, right? But sometimes when you have adversity and you have things that happen to you, or when you have something like your football team that struggles for a long time, it really helps you build character. And that's why I'm not biased. I have a lot of love, you know, in my heart for, you know, just not my friends and family, but for the NFL, you know, and obviously evaluating players and, you know, just trying to think of what it would be like to be in their shoes, in the GM's shoes, the head coach's shoes, the players' shoes. And that's why I can come up with a lot of these predictions that turn out to be true or right. It's just the reading and this reading people, reading, you know, the books, reading the film, watching the film, but also that as well. So, but we should be able to get to the NFC Championship game this year. If we don't win the Super Bowl this year, it is a bust. I mean, it's definitely Kansas City and Tampa Bay. It would be the matchup that I would want to see. I think it's the most likely matchup to happen. Is it very often you're going to get two teams that play each other in a repeat Super Bowl? Fuck no, it just doesn't happen. Other teams get hurt. You know, a lot of times after you win the Super Bowl, those guys leave and get more money somewhere else. So this is the first time in like 30, 40 years that you've got to be able to complete a roster from the year before and keeping all 22 starters, as well as all 3 head coaches and coordinators. And we got Tom Brady, who's a 4th head coach. I mean, it's looking pretty good. I mean, like I said, I feel that we could beat Green Bay again, or the Rams, even with Stafford, Niners, even with, you know, a Trey Lance or Jimmy G, or any of the other like sleeper teams like a Washington or Dallas or Vikings or Seattle or the Cardinals. And then in the AFC side, I mean, right now the Browns look fantastic, right? The Bills should be good too, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are going to be the top 3. Titans are going to be fighting for that 4th spot. And then you got the Patriots and the Dolphins and the Chargers that will be in the mix as well. But there is a big separation between the Chiefs, then the Browns and the Bills, and then the next tier. I think Titans are right there behind them, but the defense needs a little bit of work. But as far as like AFC Championship worthy, I mean, really the only ones to me I feel confident that you can say, you know, are the Bills, the Browns, and the Chiefs. I mean, those are the teams. The Chiefs are the New England Patriots, you know, except maybe not the cheating with Belichick and whatnot. So they should have an amazing next 10 years. So, they're going for their third straight Super Bowl win or lose or draw, right? And in the next 10 years, they're going to be the favored team to make it every single year to the AFC Championship game and Super Bowl on the AFC side because they got the guy, Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league. Yes, they will have to replace, Travis Kelce at some point, get some help for Tyreek and Mecole Hardman. Keep improving the offensive line, making sure you have guys like Spagnuolo in the D coordinator position. Maybe have to get a replacement for Frank Clark, get pass rushers, get linebackers, get that stud, that presence, that honey badger, that first ballot Hall of Famer, the leader on the D. So if you're not them, I mean, the Browns, the Bills, and the Chargers have a bright long-term future. But if you got to get past Kansas City, I mean, you got to pray that they get hurt. Because if they don't get hurt, they're not losing games. I mean, it's very rare. I mean, I'm not saying Josh Allen can't beat Patrick Mahomes or Baker with a more maybe well-rounded, balanced offense and defense. But if you look at the defense between the Chiefs and the Bills and the Browns defense is much better than those other two, right? But also on the flip side, you end up having Patrick Mahomes on one side, or Baker Mayfield, or Patrick Mahomes looking at Josh Allen looking at Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield. I mean, Josh Allen has proved that he could finally do it once he got his true number one receiver, struggled with completion percentage in college at Wyoming in his first couple years. But I think he's taken the money. He's taken the big step that, for them to be able to beat the Chiefs or the Browns, they need a running back. And I've already said this for the last couple years. You need to be able to have a 3-down back. You don't have a 3-down back, you're not going to get past the Chiefs, period, unless it's injuries. And you might not even be able to get past the Browns, in all honesty, because they have Myles Garrett, and you're going to have Clowney. You got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. You brought in John Johnson III, at safety. You had Troy Hill from the Rams also. This team is loaded. Ward is there. You got so many guys. LSU safety. I mean, you got so many pieces on the roster. Some got hurt, but the Browns, they got it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Browns end up getting to that AFC Championship game this year. Let's see here, and I'm scrolling down trying to get caught up with everybody. Remember people calling Jared Cook Beetlejuice? Can't believe they disrespected my boy Beetlejuice. Great movie. That's facts. That is facts. Adventures with AG in the building. What'd it do? You went to the game last night? Dodgers and Angels. That's awesome, my guy. She sent me some pictures on Twitter if you don't have a Twitter account. Let's see here, and I'm scrolling down. I apologize if I haven't got to you. You boys going to go through all the questions. So one sec here. See the Last Saint, Amber M, Justin Wills in the building. Let's see here. That's why we want to see Micah Parsons or J.C. Horn work on the field. Absolutely. That's what I want to see. They got the Steelers right now on Good Morning Football. No. Inside Training Camp edition. Anything that has, to do with the NFL, I'm all over that. Pat McAfee Show, Good Morning Football, Inside Training Camp Live, or anything that has to do NFL and NFL Network. Those are the only reliable sources. ESPN, Fox Sports, all of that is just, ESPN lost their whole audience, because they don't got anybody that's real. You know what I mean? They just got a bunch of fucking talking heads out there. They lost a lot of the legends like Stuart Scott. It's not the same ESPN. I haven't watched SportsCenter in like 10 or 12 years. Just not a good place to get information anymore. A lot of biasness. And then you got things like Skip and Shannon and Colin, on Fox Sports, a little bit more entertaining, but it's kind of Colin, a lot of people hate, but he's got a great voice and a great tone. He's got a lot of hot takes. So sometimes you can't disagree, to certain things. Obviously you have to be, questionable, but Skip and Shannon is kind of staged and fake to me. Obviously Shannon is great. He's real. Skip is the delirious one saying the, Dallas Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl every year and is having these hot takes that are told by producers to tell him to say it these certain ways just to make it look like he's crazy so that they can argue for ratings. I'm just not about that life. When it's fake like that, just, you got to have people that are real, like your boy, you know what I mean? That got the voice that can relate to the people, the younger generation, the older generation. Get me on ESPN. I can get some of the ratings back. I mean, ESPN is taking a big hit. SportsCenter is not good. People don't go there anymore for information. There's a lot of other sources that you can go to, but they need a new voice, a new face, someone that they can really connect with the people. So your boy, at some point, ESPN, pick up the phone. Fox Sports, pick up the phone. Pat McAfee, pick up the phone. I can add something to any show, NFL wise. And even if I was on like with Skip and Shannon, a lot of people would be intimidated. Fuck no, I wouldn't be intimidated. I can go toe to toe, head to head to anybody in any NFL circle. I don't care if you're a former NFL player or a talking head like Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith. It's crazy to me that some of these guys make $1 million to $8 million a year and they're not even good. So it's like the people deserve to at least have someone that's passionate, that has the energy, the dedication, and number one, the knowledge, and not have that biasness. People are going to respect that a lot more than just saying some hot takes that aren't true. So that way that you can comment and get all heated up and get all worked up, based on some dumb hot take that Stephen A or Skip, put out there. And even though knowing that it's fake, you still comment on it and maybe get triggered. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Pick up the phone, baby. Someone call, not 911. Call your boy. Your boy can add any element to the show. And at some point, I know it's going to happen. I am going to get an email. I am going to get a phone call from some type of network or podcast. And it'll be awesome to be able to join that and then eventually maybe get my own on another platform. But I'm building the legacy. I'm building the YouTube channel. I'm building the audience. You guys are the best fans on planet Earth. And I dedicate my entire life to the NFL, college football, and obviously being able to share my life with you guys and my passion that I have for the game. And like I said, no one will understand unless you're like a hardcore football, soccer fan, NFL, college football, wrestling. If you are in one of those dynamics, then you can understand. Baseball fans can be very hardcore as well. But I just think with college football, NFL, and wrestling, and obviously you'll get certain people across the world that love football. Messi, Ronaldo, obviously he's in the news. If you guys ended up seeing that today, Messi going to a new team. But that passion that I think wrestling fans and AEW, WWE, WWF, ECW, WCW fans have, or NFL fans have, or college football, we're all the same. That's why wrestling and football go together, because we have so much passion and energy about our favorite teams and our favorite athletes. And that's big facts, because Stone Cold said so. Big facts. Zini Panini in the building. What to do? So, hey, Ryan, which rookies are you most excited to watch this year? So on defense, we had a similar question that I went over. Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys is going to be a top 10 linebacker sooner than later, and he'll be in consideration for being a top 5 linebacker sooner than later. I think he's that damn good. As long as he doesn't have any injuries, he should be why we watch the Dallas Cowboys, besides Dak Prescott, to see if he can live up to the expectations, comeback player of the year. I like CeeDee Lamb as my favorite player on the Cowboys. I think that he could be a breakout wide receiver, just like Justin Jefferson already is, as well as A.J. Brown. Those are the 3 best young wide receivers that are in the game right now to me personally, and then not including rookies like Waddle or Jamar Chase. If I had to add one more name, Devontae Smith, Waddle, Chase, Elijah Moore, a lot of these guys are going to be fantastic, but I got to go with Chase. He seems like he might end up being a guy that could be in consideration for like top 5, top 10 wide receiver status after his first year, just like Justin Jefferson proved that he could be the man. We saw it at LSU, and a lot of times people want to doubt certain guys. If you see it in college, right, and depending on who they're playing and if they have the intangibles, they work hard, they study film, they really, put what they need to put in their bodies to eat, and not the poison, not, doing the drugs or the drinking, really staying focused on, what's going to be best for their body. And if they're mentally right and they put in as much energy and passion and studying film, studying their opponents, that's when when you get guys that have athletic ability like Justin Jefferson, Double J, not Jeff Jarrett, baby, but Justin Jefferson, all right? He's a guy that can do routes on anybody. I don't know if there's a corner in the league that can cover him. And I think Jalen Ramsey's amazing, all right? You got Gilmore, who's amazing, Jair Alexander, who's amazing, Xavier Howard, who's amazing. I don't think anyone can guard Justin Jefferson in this league. Diggs is almost unguardable. Keenan Allen, almost unguardable. Devontae Adams, almost unguardable. I mean, there's a lot of guys one-on-one. I don't know if these top corners can really do it. I mean, we've seen Jalen Ramsey shut down a lot of the top guys last season and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that. So there's good consideration why he is the best corner in the league. You know what I mean? If you don't like him at 1, you can put him at 2. Gilmore's right up there, obviously, but if you look at play for play, man for man, zone for zone, I think Ramsey, is a little bit more dominant game in and game out when healthy. Gilmore is still proven that he is a top 2 guy, but then you get a guy like Xavier Howard who will get you more interceptions than those guys. So if you want that on your team, that definitely could be a game breaker, and you could say that. And Jair Alexander, as far as an up-and-coming corner, Green Bay usually doesn't have a lot of good defensive guys. It's taken in the last maybe Super Bowl run till now, to get the Charles Woodson, to get the, guys that come over to the roster on Green Bay. Obviously we remember with the Reggie White, that was the reason that Brett Favre got the ring. You're going from Philly to Green Bay. You got a guy like Reggie White, or you got a guy like Charles Woodson. That shit helps. They're Hall of Famers. But, and I'll go that route. But as far as offense is concerned, obviously J.C. Horn, Micah Parsons, I like those 2 the most. On the offensive side, Obviously, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Elijah Moore from the Jets is going to be fantastic. Najee Harris at running back. I'm excited for that. All the quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and my favorite of them all, Trey Lance. Like I said, with the coaching that they have with Shanahan and the roster, I think there's a good opportunity that they can baby him along. But if you ended up starting him week 1 with this easy schedule that they're coming off, that's why I think that they can win the NFC West. And if they don't win the NFC West and the Rams take it, they're only going to be like a game behind, and they can get a wild card, and that's fine. I think the Cardinals can get in too. It's pretty much going to be Niners, Rams, and then you're going to get a third team in the playoffs. It's either going to be Kyler doing well in December with the defense, with the addition of J.J. Swat, or Seattle finds a way because they got dangerous and they got a horrible O-line, a horrible D-line, right? You got Carson, who's injury prone, but I like him. He's usually a top 10 running back. You got DK Metcalf, top 10. You got Tyler, get to the door and lock it. One of the more consistent wide receivers in the league, very underrated. You could argue Tyler, get to the door and lock it, is the best good wide receiver in the NFL. Not elite, but if you're talking about a good wide receiver to have, Chris Godwin, obviously on my team, you could say that, that's a good option. A.J. Brown and Julio. At this point, it would be Julio as a second option because I think A.J. Brown at this point in his career is better. I think game in and game out, I would rather have A.J. Brown than Julio. No disrespect. Obviously, Julio's getting a little bit older, but he could still score touchdowns. But I just like A.J. Brown a lot. He's like my favorite wide receiver, not on my team on Tampa Bay, besides Justin Jefferson. That's another one. You got to always mention Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb. They're going to be really, really exciting as we're going in. So, but quarterbacks, all those, and obviously all the offensive linemen that will hopefully break out. Elijah Vera-Tucker. There's a lot of guys. So, Rashawn Slater, protecting Justin Herbert. It's going to be very exciting. And obviously my boy, Penei Sewell, seeing what he can do for, MCDC. The Lions are going to suck. They're going to be the worst team in football right next to the Texans. The Texans will be the worst team, 0, 1, 2 wins, 3 wins. And then I think the Lions might be the second worst team. I hate to say it, but I don't really believe in Jared Goff. A lot of the players are no longer there. Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay, they're no longer there. So it's like you're going to be really thin at wide receiver, kind of similar to the Saints, very, very thin. Running backs, you have, DeAndre Swift, and you have some options there. But the O-line, Penei Sewell's there. Tyron Crosby from Oregon is there as well. I believe they're going to both be on the left side, or they can move Sewell from the right side, left side to right side, wherever they need them. They're going to have injuries. They're going to have to move them around. But I understand why you did Burrow to Chase. You got T. Higgins. You got Chase. You got to avoid the boy, Tyler Boyd, and you got Joe Mixon. You created your Fab Five. Right? But if you don't have time, you're going to tear your ACL again. And we don't want to hear a story about a guy like Joe Burrow and what he did at LSU, literally quarterbacking the best college football team, arguably of all time. I mean, we're talking about the points that Brady, the OC, put up and the play calling. I mean, that was the most probably dominant team that I might have ever seen in my entire life in college football with Joe Burrow and how many points they scored, how they scored, who contributed. How good Joe Burrow was, how great Coach Orgeron was, and the players that they had at the wide receiver position. It was just, normally it's Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson. It's usually those, but hey, every once in a while, you get something a little bit different. But definitely the wide receivers are going to be exciting. Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater are going to be my ones that I watch on O-line. And obviously I'm a linebacker guy. I'm a defensive guy first, and then O-line second. A lot of y'all are quarterback first, running back, wide receiver, tight end. You guys love the glorified positions, but I like covering the guys that don't get the love. The offensive linemen that make the team and the wheels run on the bus that we call the offense. Obviously for every NFL team. So you got to keep the wheels running. You got to have a good offense to be able to run block, pass block, give your running back the holes, right? Getting guys to pull and be athletic to be able to make good plays and do big plays, right? And then also you got to be able to have good pass protection on your blind sides as well as up the middle and a good leader at center. People don't really realize if you don't have a good center, you're not winning a Super Bowl. You're not winning games in the playoffs. The center is the next up to the quarterback there. He's the one calling out all the protections on the line. So if you don't have a quarterback mentality center that's really a leader, people respect, he doesn't have to be the best player on the offensive line. There could be guards or tackles that are more athletic and younger and maybe bigger, right? Maybe have more agility, but he's got to be one of your top three. And if he has the intelligence, more than likely, he'll probably be more intelligent than those guards or those left tackles or right tackles, because he's got to know more on his plate. And there's more at line at every play for him to fumble or, fumble the snap it too hard, snap it too soft. If he's going shotgun snap too high, left or right, just not a good, connection with the quarterback. And then if you're underneath, where the hands are underneath the butt right there, and trying to be able to get those good snaps. Sometimes fingers get jammed, and centers, obviously careers can be made or taken away really quick. So that's kind of my perspective. And, with the centers, the guards, the tackles, that shit means a lot. D-line getting pressure to the quarterback, that shit means a lot. Defense and offensive line, that's really, that wins you football games. Like I said, you can have a Patrick Mahomes and you can have a Travis Kelce, Tyreek the Freak Hill. You can have all these amazing guys at the skill positions who could be rated number 1, number 2, or number 3 at their position, right? But if the defense is elite and they play together as a team 11 on 11 and they really play for each other and they're well coached by an arguably top 3 defensive coordinator right now, which I believe is number 1 in Todd Bowles. He proved it in the Super Bowl and obviously in that playoff run to hold Patrick Mahomes and no touchdown passes. I don't know if there's any other defense that season that would have been able to do that. I mean, if you look at my player for player, my D-line stack, the best, duo linebackers and Levante David and Devin White, a young secondary, the Gravediggers, overachieving and playing good football. I mean, Todd Bowles deserves to be a head coach. I hope he stays in Tampa. I don't want him to leave. Do I think he's a top 10 head coach once he gets the job? Not necessarily. You can put him in that top 20 category and have him prove it, but I would rather have him, someone in the organization, unless Mike Tomlin becomes available. And then we can have Todd Bowles at D coordinator, bring in Mike Tomlin, Bruce Arians retires, Mike Tomlin gets fired from Pittsburgh. Yes, please. That would be my first choice to be my coach at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, since he is part of my coaching tree with John Gruden. He's the man, Mike Tomlin. A lot of people don't like him, and obviously the Steelers haven't got enough Super Bowls for their liking. And obviously with all the amazing weapons that they've had at wide receiver over the years, it's like wide receiver but shows you got to have a good O-line and defense. And if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to get to Super Bowls and win. And that's big facts. Let's see here. Zini Panini in the building. Appreciate you. All right, let's see here. I'm trying to get caught up. You know what I mean? I'm online. I'm chilling, watching NFL Network. Blake Midget. Do you think DJ Moore can become a top 5 wide receiver? No. But I do think he can become a top 10 wide receiver in this league. If you're top 5, I mean, do you know what kind of steps DJ Moore would have to take? I mean, regardless, if it's going to be Sam Darnold or you're going to get like a Justin Fields type of quarterback in the future and you give up on, Sam Darnold and you get somebody better, a Cam Newton type of aura player or someone better, Jake Delhomme better, but someone that's like, you feel really special about. All right. So with DJ Moore, look at who we have at wide receiver. You have Devontae Adams. Regardless of him and Aaron Rodgers stick together, which they won't. Rodgers will probably go to Denver. Devontae Adams will probably go to the Raiders and pair up with his college quarterback, Derek Carr. If you guys didn't know that, they played at Fresno State together. So you got DeAndre Hopkins up there, obviously at 2, Devontae Adams at 1, 3, Tyreek. And then there's guys like Stephon Diggs, that's very underrated. Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown. All right, you got guys like Jamar Chase. So I don't think you're ever going to touch those guys. You know what I mean? But DJ Moore could prove that he is a true number 1 receiver. He's just on the Panthers. Once you guys end up getting to an NFC championship game or you have some success getting to the playoffs, keeping Run CMC healthy, because I'll tell you what, whether it's Teddy Bridgewater, Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, that's not the long-term solution. Sam Darnold is just a Band-Aid, and they're going to see what they get from him. Do I think that he's good enough in his stay with you guys? If he stays for 2 to 3 years, can he take you to the playoffs at least once? Yes, I do believe he can. But is he the long-term answer for you guys to compete with the Saints and the Bucks and possibly the Falcons getting better year in and year out, right? So you got to have Run CMC healthy, but Curtis Samuel's no longer there. Right, we know that he's paired up now with Scary Terry McLaurin. So DJ Moore is going to get a lot of opportunities there to show that what he can do. I just don't know if his skill set. I mean, maybe if now DJ Moore had a better quarterback, so if you had an Aaron Rodgers throwing to DJ Moore, right, or a Russell Wilson throwing to a DJ Moore, or if you had a Tom Brady throwing to a DJ Moore, right, or if you have a Patrick Mahomes throwing to a DJ Moore, then you're looking at probably a chance to be, top 5. So that's really the only way it's going to happen, is that I think for himself as a player, he can be a top 10, but people don't think he's a top 10 yet. He's on the outside. Somewhere between maybe like 11 and 20 is where most people have DJ Moore, because some people are going to have other guys that they like better just for, bias reasons or whatnot. But I respect DJ Moore. I would take him on Tampa Bay in a heartbeat. I think he's very underrated. He's good at the deep ball. I think he's one of those receivers that does not get a lot of love. But if DJ Moore was on the Packers, with Devontae Adams, you would know who DJ Moore is. If Russell Wilson was throwing to DJ Moore, it would be the same thing as him throwing to DK Metcalf. You know what I mean? That kind of name recognition. So I like him, but I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 unless not himself getting better, but if he ends up playing with, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, plays with one of those 3 quarterbacks, or maybe a Josh Allen, and that wouldn't be good for your team because that would mean that he's no longer there. But then DJ Moore could maybe be in top 5 consideration if he's the top target. But other than his skill set, I think he's kind of capped out at, if he can get to the top 10, that's a hell of a career. Because I don't think anyone really anticipated anything from DJ Moore. I absolutely love him. Very underrated. Just like Cooper Kupp, underrated. Robert Woods, underrated. Tyler, get to the door and lock it, underrated. Facts. So it kind of got boring. I just love football way more. You guys were talking about the NBA. Yeah, that's big facts. So I'm going to give basketball another shot. Sad the Pelicans suck. Yeah, well, it depends if you guys keep Zion, long-term or not. He'll probably end up wanting to go to the Knicks or a bigger market team. But I will probably, since I have my TV set up in here, I need to get a wall mount. But I'll probably do NBA. I mean, hopefully the NBA gets better if we get past this COVID Delta and all this other bullshit. If we can end up getting... I'm going to have to do something after the NFL ends. So, that point from February, we got the NFL draft a couple months after, but from February till, July, I'm going to do baseball and NBA and wrestling, probably pretty heavy. So that way I can have more and more material on the channel. Obviously I'm versatile. I could do NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, wrestling. I mean, I can do pretty much whatever, but I think wrestling and the NFL and college football give me the most joy. That's just, what I truly love to watch. Besides my dad's Dodgers, obviously I love watching them for him, and that's big facts. Let's see here. Tess in the building. And also remember, after a team wins the Super Bowl, they grow a huge target on their backs the next season. That's true. But the thing is, do you think that Tampa Bay really cares, with Tom Brady there, if they have a target or not? They're prepared. I mean, they got the best team on paper, I feel, right now on the NFC. I mean, I would take my team, even if I wasn't a Tampa Bay fan, if I saw the roster and you have Tom Brady and you have that defense and you have that amazing offensive line that they said was trash going into the year, and they said I had the 32 of 32, the worst secondary in football. As we were going into the playoffs, I said it again, we had a top 10 offensive line and a top 10 secondary as we made that run in December and then moving forward. And then now moving forward, I think that as far as secondaries are concerned, I think Tampa's got a top 10 secondary. And I think right now you can argue that Tampa's got a top 4 offensive line, top 5 offensive line, with guys that have really shown what they can do, like Jensen at center. Amazing. Wouldn't win it without him. And Tristan Wirfs, on the right-hand side. You got guys like Donovan Smith and a few of these other guys, Ali Marpet, and I love all of them. They're all fantastic and great. But Jensen and Wirfs, that really anchors the line, and I absolutely love them. So you never know. You can have, and Kansas City is going to have a target on their back every year, regardless. Once the Tom Brady era ends, the next 10 years are going to be dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs. So if anyone catches up to Tom Brady or the New England, glory, the Lombardis, trying to catch up to Tom Brady's individual, statistics, Mahomes is the only one that's going to come close, and he might not even catch him. And that's, we'll see if we win again this year, Tampa Bay, and we go for 2, run for 2, Tampa Bay, trying to go back to back, right? Or if Mahomes ends up getting the Super Bowl, because, I mean, bottom line, if you just look at the best teams, we know Rodgers and Green Bay is good, right? But they failed 2 times in the NFC Championship game. So unless you get really, really good play from the offensive line or D-line, I'm not sure if you're really going to be able to compete with some of the upper echelon teams like Tampa Bay and maybe like the Rams this season if they start rolling. I mean, the Packers will always be competitive, just like Seahawks, because they have Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. But depending on how far you go is going to be up to your O-line and your defense and your coaching. And that's facts. You can be amazing quarterback, but if you don't have time to go through your progressions, you don't get those big plays to happen. You got to have O-line presence and D-line pressure for sack lunches and enough time for your quarterback, even if he's elite, like Aaron Rodgers, or Tom Brady for legends, and, Mahomes and Josh Allen are kind of the future, of the league. You got Lamar there. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks, and we're hoping that Herbert and Burrow can really break out. I don't know about Tua, but we might have a target on our back, but we're not afraid. I mean, because we've always kind of come in humble. We were horrible with Jameis. We were, had a team with Josh Freeman, like in 2010, where we went like 10-6, but we missed the playoffs with the Giants. Would have been a wild card, but it's like I don't really get wins. So I'm used to having my team be elite, when I fell in love with them from like 95 to like 03. And then after that, after the John Gruden era and the Tony Dungy era ended, it was a kind of crap. 2005, with Chris Sims at quarterback, lost to the Washington Redskins, in the beginning rounds. And then 2007 with Jeff Garcia, and couldn't win then. And then since then, nothing. So I think, it's awesome when teams win 10, 11, 12. Not everyone's going to be the New England Patriots. So, I mean, I know what it's like to lose 40-0 and be at the bar and watch my team all the way to the end. And the only thing that I, wanted to watch is just to see those key first downs, to see if guys quit, to see if guys were playing with their head up, seeing any good plays, any good first downs or grabs or runs that maybe there was potential for the next game. And that's knowing that the season's over in October when I know Tampa was only going to win 3 to 7 games every year. That's rough. To be hardcore about a team, hard hat, jerseys, chains, gloves, and just know that, going into the season, if you're truthful with yourself, when your team is good, when your team is bad, when your team is Super Bowl worthy and when they're not. If you got to a Super Bowl and you haven't gone since, why? Because you go back and look at the roster and look at the coaching, how everything gelled together, just like the 2017 Eagles. Everything gelled together with head coach, play caller, Frank Reich, bringing the cherry on top with Jay Ajayi right at the right time with the four horsemen. And then they had a better O-line and D-line and had to have a trick play in Philly. And it took all that to play a perfect game for Derek Barnett to make the play and for them to beat New England. So it shows you how dominant New England. I mean, they won the first 3 Super Bowls and they won them by 3. So they won against the Rams in 01 by 3, right? 03 against the Panthers by 3. And then the Eagles with Donovan McNabb and T.O. by 3. 3. So it's not like New England was blowing people out, and they were probably cheating at that point too with some kind of gate that we don't know of, right? So it's not like they dominated, but that started it off with the 9/11 bombings and then the Patriots, the United States coming together and the Patriot way. It just was American, and then they rode with it. And obviously we already know that the Raiders, right? That was, the tuck rule. We know that was kind of booty and that was BS. That definitely the Raiders, got the recovery with Woodson, I believe, in that play with the whole tuck rule. Even though Tom Brady is on my team now and has won me a Super Bowl, I'm not going to defend for something that I don't believe in just because it's Tom Brady and my guy. That should have been a fumble, and that maybe would have changed everything. Because you got to think with the Raiders, depending on if they win that game or not, or, in that little run, John Gruden stays on the Raiders and doesn't come to Tampa Bay. Who's to say that they could have had a little bit more of a run with that roster? And if the Raiders would have ended up winning that game and winning the Super Bowl, I mean, we might be talking about the Raiders as, being that team of, having guys like Marcus Allen, like back in the day, and the Bo Jacksons and whatnot, but then the Tim Brown and the Jerry Rice. And I mean, you remember, it was weird seeing Jerry Rice in another uniform other than the Niners, but he still was good at like 40 years old plus on the Raiders. If it wasn't for my elite defense in 02, and obviously having John Gruden, the head coach of the team prior, get in, I mean, they were good, best offense in the league that year. Oakland Raiders with Rich Gannon. I remember the team, Charlie Gardner, Tim Brown, Jerry Rice. They were solid, but it happens. Defense helps you win. It doesn't really matter how good your offense is. You want to have a good offense that can put up points, but more importantly, you got to have a great O-line, great coaching. Then the players will come into play. Wide receivers will get better, running backs, tight ends. Everyone gets better on the offense when the offensive line is good. If the offensive line is great, it makes everyone better around them, all right? So if you already have good players there, then they go from good to elite. When you have a good O-line, everything meshes together. It doesn't help. Also helps when you have a guy like a Tom Brady, a fourth head coach on the roster. So as long as you have Tom, Buccaneers or any other team that he goes to, if he goes to another, if you have Tom and it's a pretty competitive team, you're always going to be in the running. He is the biggest, I think, clutch player, you could argue in sports ever. You know what I mean? In a lot of the games, like even the 28-3. I mean, there's not a lot of guys I think that could have been able to do something like that besides maybe Peyton Manning, you know what I mean, with comebacks against Tampa and like in the regular season. But 28-3 in the Super Bowl, mentally, you got to think we're fucked. The only guy that probably thought like this doesn't look good, but I think that we can dink and doink and start chipping away. And if we can get it to overtime, maybe we have a shot. And that's what happened. When you get a guy that's that optimistic, but is confident, has the swag, that's been there before, maybe not 28-3 in the Super Bowl, but everything that he incurred on that roster, cheating and all with Belichick, trying to pull the strings for that his legacy more than Brady's. And it was really more about him because he ended up being under, Bill Parcells and the Giants and Lawrence Taylor, with all the coke and all the hookers and whatnot. So, I mean, Belichick knows. You know what I mean? Belichick ain't no dummy, but it's just sad that he had to cheat because then we could have given him a little bit more credit instead of all these gates and the extra. I mean, are you that insecure with yourself that you have to film the other team? Don't you believe in yourself and McDaniels at OC, right? And Tom Brady and all the weapons that you're good enough without having to watch them practice and try to figure out what plays they're calling or when they have their headset, it goes muffled inside of New England on purpose because they end up jamming the signal. I mean, is it that necessary You know what I mean? Your team is already good. So that pretty much tells me that you don't think that you can beat the elite teams without doing those little extra things. And if you get caught, you get caught. So I think Tom Brady's legacy is a little tarnished. He's a Buck guy now. All right. But I wasn't really a big Tom Brady guy from years past. A lot of it, as we all know as NFL fans, it's jealousy. It's kind of hate. Like, God damn, these guys win so much. Like, fuck that. I want my team to win, or I want other teams to win. And he was always there, but you respect it. It's like Kobe. As a Blazer fan, you know what I mean? It's like, God, I don't like that guy. The Lakers, the rival. But then as, you get away from it and they retire and you go back and reflect on a career, rest in peace, Kobe, one of my favorites of all time, even though I'm a Blazer guy. And, hated the player and the rivalry. And it made me sick, the Kobe and the Shaq. I mean, as a Blazer fan, and then, Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. It's not been easy here in the Northwest. I mean, we made a fucking Greg Oden, Kevin Durant. That's another one. That hurts. Because even though Durant, if we would have got him in Portland, he would have stayed for his first 4 years, rookie contract over, dipped, went somewhere else. I get it. But just to have the recognition that it shows if you know talent or if you're, drafting based off position only. If you draft on talent, a talented player can play multiple positions. If you're, kind of drafting based off need, you're only looking at that one position. So you're limiting yourself. And obviously the league changed. We were no longer a league in the NBA of centers. It kind of shifted from Olajuwon, Ewing, David Robinson, and then you had a Shaq. But after that, there hasn't been really guys as dominant. So they should have known, even though he was skinny and he looked like he was 120, 150 bones. If you watched him at Texas with Durant, clearly was the best player in the nation. Greg Oden obviously was like kind of like a sexy, like, oh, I hope he turns into Shaquille O'Neal. And he didn't. And he ended up getting hurt. You banked on him turning into Shaq, but you knew Kevin Durant would be good, regardless if he was skinny, because he could shoot. You know what I mean? And look what he ended up being. He helped us get a gold medal and as arguably one of the more consistent players in the NBA. So smooth. Obviously there's people that love Durant, love LeBron, but we're blessed to be able to have guys after Jordan and Kobe on that greatness level, like LeBron or a KD, love him or hate him with his burners and whatnot on Twitter. But that is what it is. Some guys are okay and they're looking for the target on the back, and some guys can handle it and we can tell, and some guys can't. And I would tell you, if I didn't return all my starters back, like I did not all 22 in the coaches, obviously there's, you probably know, you're hoping for an NFC championship game opportunity, but you're not as confident. But I think that with the draft that we had, we're bringing back all the coaches, all the coordinators, even the kicker. It's looking good. Like, it's really our Super Bowl to lose at this point. I mean, like I said, it's not like I think Tampa Bay is so much better than all the other teams. Is Tampa Bay beatable? Yeah. Are we going to go undefeated? Fuck no. We're probably going to lose 5 or 6 games this year. And I like it that way because I like to be able to get fucking smacked around that way, that they can come in focused and pissed, and it makes you better instead of winning every game by 10 or 20, being cocky, then getting to the fucking NFC championship game, playing the Rams or playing another team like the Packers, getting punched in the mouth in the fucking first quarter, right? Pick 6 or something, then they score, then you're down 13-0, and then you can't come back because there's not enough time. So I know, I'm realistic with it. I know my team is good. When my team doesn't have Tom Brady, that's like when I had Jameis, when I told you my team sucked, and I could give the good positives for the Saints and the Falcons and the Panthers. That was real. Like, I know when I'm good and I know when I'm not good. Tampa Bay is the team to beat besides the Kansas City Chiefs. I think a lot of people like the Chiefs more because obviously the Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey, they revamped the O-line with Orlando Brown from the Ravens, Joe Thuney from the Patriots. You got Creed from the draft, who should be nice. Duvernay Tardif, stopped working on that COVID as being like a backup doctor, and he's back. And, Austin Blythe and, Long, even though he got hurt. So, I mean, the offensive line much improved for Mitchell Schwartz and, Eric Fisher, but I think there's going to be injuries on that offensive line. I have ESP. I can kind of see the future. I've said this many, many times. I already told you about Michael Thomas about a week and a half before it happened, and it debuted in the news. But I think the O-line is greatly improved, but they are going to have injuries, and you just better hope that those injuries aren't season-ending, because obviously then that opens the door for the Browns and the Bills and the Titans to kind of catch up. But as long as you have Mahomes and you have Kelsey and you have Tyreek and you got Honey Badger on the other side with Andy Reid and Bieniemy, you are the best team at the top. People are, know that it's Tampa and Kansas City. And, it's not likely to have those same 2 teams in the Super Bowl, but it's not likely for Tom Brady to be on the Buccaneers, to come in and do what he did. And we already know Mahomes should get there. You know what I mean? Because they're the best team in the AFC. With Tampa, there's a little bit more of a threat because I think you got the Rams and the Niners, and you got the Cardinals and the Seahawks and the Packers, maybe the Vikings, Washington football team, Dallas, a few of these other teams that could beat Tampa. Because like I said, we play bad sometimes. 38-3, week 9. Watch the tape. Week 1, against the Saints, they beat us. We didn't really, get off to a good start after, the initial touchdown, and the better team won. The Saints did. Week 1, they showed they had Drew Brees, that they were a Super Bowl caliber team. And then as the season went on at home, I thought, okay, maybe we can get a little payback. 38-3, it didn't happen. All right. Definitely disappointing. Lost to the, Rams by 3, the Bears by 3 when he forgot the count, the Chiefs by 3. So it's not like we really got blown out. We only lost by like 9 points or more really to the Saints. Every other matchup that we lost was 3-3-3. So, and it's good to lose those games that are close. You know what I mean? Because it builds character, and then any guys that were slipping can get refocused. And obviously, sometimes you need to be refocused. It's like when New England went undefeated, I knew they were going to lose that Super Bowl. Because in week 16 or 17 of that year with Eli, right, they played him the last game of the regular season. And even though the Giants lost, they had the blueprint on how to run the football with like Brandon Jacobs and the guys that they had with their 3 horsemen there, right? They knew how to have the blueprint for that game. And then New England is undefeated. It's history. Miami Dolphins suck it, from 72-73. We are going to make history. And then Michael Strahan, being that dude and just getting good play at quarterback from Eli and some amazing helmet catches and whatnot. Like, I knew the Giants were going to win both of those Super Bowls. I actually won money on both of them. I don't know what it is. It's just sometimes, and even the Saints Super Bowl, I knew that since they had Jeremy Shockey, they were winning the Super Bowl, even though Peyton Manning was on the Colts. Like, I just get these gut feelings, and when I watch the film and I watch the tape, there's always an X factor. Jeremy Shockey is one of my favorite players of all time. Just talk about a crazy white boy. You know what I mean? That tight end went to the U, all right? Players from the U are fucking nuts. All right, sipping on the lean, sipping on Hennessy, just being amazing athletes from the Michael Irvin, Jimmy Johnson era. But guys that went to the U, Clinton Portis, and a lot of these guys, amazing talents. But man, guys from the U, unbelievable. That's just kind of how I feel. So we'll see where it goes. But that's kind of my feeling at this point. Let me see here. Got a lot of people here in the comments, so I apologize. I'll scroll down here in just a little bit. Here. So many comments. My bad here. It's like I don't even know how far it goes. Okay, and I'll try to go through as many as I can. I like to acknowledge everyone. So a guy in the building, Raiders, my dude. I don't think KC's worried about replacing guys minus Mahomes. They have a good feel for who fits their system. But if Eric Bieniemy leaves, they're not going to be the same team. That is a big part of the success of the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's not take that away from Mahomes or Tyreek or Kelsey. All right, those guys are phenomenal. You could say that Mahomes is the best quarterback. You could argue Tyreek is the best wide receiver. You could argue with Hopkins and Adams. You could argue Tyreek is the biggest game breaker in the NFL. And you can argue that Kelsey's the number 1 tight end, him or George Kittle. So you could say number one. But with all that being said, if the O-line can't do their job or they can't get a pass rush, that would have been the only thing that could have made that game closer. That if the O-line didn't do a good job and my D-line with Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, JPP, Shaq Barrett, like if we did what we did and made Mahomes run for 500 yards, I get it, right? But on the flip side, if they would have got pressure on Tom Brady so Gronk couldn't get those 2 touchdowns, or AB didn't get the touchdown, or like a Scotty Miller, going deep in the NFC Championship game against the Packers, you got to get to Brady. And that's one thing with him being old. He might not be able to run around like Lamar Jackson, but his internal clock, he doesn't really take a lot of sack lunches. He throws a football away. Sometimes you'll get grounding. That happens, but for an old guy like that, that's one thing I've always been very impressive. A trait about him is being able to get rid of the football very, very quickly. But him and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are arguably the 2 smartest quarterbacks that we've had probably in these last 30 years. Like if you go game in, game out, every situation, clutch performances, being able to come back when you're getting your ass kicked, like at 48, for example, 28-3, or Peyton Manning in numerous games. You got to have the it factor. And some guys have it, some guys don't. Let's see here. Tess in the building. What to do? My boy, Seth Werner. Yes, sir. Go Brownies. They're on TV right now. I'm watching them. I absolutely love their defense. Baker was a top 5 quarterback like in the final 6 to 8 games, based off statistics. So at the back end of the season, even though a lot of people hate on Baker, we love his swag at Oklahoma. Then he goes to the Browns, who normally have a horrible reputation of sucking just horribly, just like my Buccaneers, the Lions, the Bengals usually were at the bottom, people laughing, ha, ha, ha. But then what happened? Something magical happened. The Browns and the Bucs made the playoffs, right? And the Browns have an amazing defense, really have been building on it. Myles Garrett, is a top 5 defender in this league. You could argue he might be the best defensive player in the league that's not named Aaron Donald. Like if you're looking for that next guy, like who would you want on your team after Aaron Donald? And they maybe played, D tackle, D end, or linebacker. I think a lot of people would say Myles Garrett. And I probably would be one of them. Like, I think he's a very talented player, lost his head. Mason Rudolph, RIP, RIP to your little noggin, that we saw. But I think with Baker and this offensive line, that really what it came down to, it's not Baker that's making the turnaround and he's just so much better. Like, Baker right now is not a top 10 quarterback. He's like 11 to probably 18, somewhere in that general range, right? But you got the best duo at running back, period. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, period. Kareem Hunt, to me, is a top 10 running back. You put him on any other team, he could be a top 10 guy year in and year out. He's that fucking talented. Ask the Chiefs, they remember, okay? But with the Browns, improving the line, Jedrick Wills Jr., Jack Conklin getting in, Stefanski, who was the OC for the Vikings, who made Stephon Diggs a great player. You finally got a great head coach, better than Hugh Jackson. O-line is good, right? You got great running backs, and then it doesn't even really matter with Landry or Njoku or OBJ. But if you do get something there, that's the difference between getting to the AFC championship game or not, or playing or getting hurt like OBJ. And if you end up having an amazing December, OBJ is known for Decembers. So if he ends up going and making it healthy to December, don't be surprised if the Browns win the AFC North. Don't be surprised if they make the AFC championship game. And depending on the health of the Chiefs, that might be the only team that's the biggest threat to me in the AFC besides the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen and Diggs, they still don't have a 3-down running back. That's really going to be the key. And like I said, I like the Browns and the Chiefs better at this point, but I'm not saying that the Bills can't make the Super Bowl or get to an AFC championship game, but I feel that their team has more holes in it than the Browns and the Chiefs at this point today. And obviously we got a few weeks until we get to the regular season. And that's big facts. But I love the Browns. They're my second favorite team behind the Chiefs. That's a lot of praise. I believe in Baker and the offensive line this year. I think he's going to really have a great season. Expectations are high, but I think that they can handle it. It gives them that Oklahoma swag that we used to see Baker with. And, it's like sometimes like when you go from a top team like in Oklahoma, Ohio State, Clemson, the Alabama, the LSU, the Georgias, you got the swag, Oregon, you got the drip, you got the helmets, you got the vibe. You're always a top 10 team. You're a superstar. You're a man on campus. And then sometimes if you go to a bad team or a team that has ugly unis, to some people, the Browns, I mean, they need to maybe get the bulldog on the side of the head, right? You got the Browns, the look, the orange and the black or the brown. I get it. Give me a fucking bulldog on the side, or like Bernie Kosar's face, or give me something. Give me the bulldog, the brown. Give me something, not the color of a crayon. Dog pound. You know what I'm saying? Give me a dog on each side, or give me a dog and a number. A bulldog on one side, like a Georgia, and then like boom, give me the number of the athlete, like a college helmet on the other side. See, if I was hooking up the Browns, I could have the fire uniforms. You know what I mean? You just got to mix it up because obviously orange and that type of orange color, obviously with the creamsicle with Tampa Bay, I'm familiar, or Tennessee's uniforms, from the Volunteers. Sometimes people like those colors, the bright oranges, the kind of dull orange, but a lot of people, it's like the ugliest uniform out there. So I see potential in it. You just need to flashen it up a little bit. Maybe numbers on the side of the helmet, back of the helmet, bulldogs on both sides. That's what I would do. And I think the Browns merch would sell a lot better. Myles Garrett jerseys would sell better, and the helmets would sell better if you made them look a little bit more attractive. I mean, we are in 2021. We see uniform changes all the time. And I imagine, Seth Warner, you would want a helmet change. But I'll tell you what, you keep the same helmet, right? But you put bulldogs on both sides. You see sales go up. Swag goes up. You look good. You play good. You feel good. Like Deion Sanders would say, prime time. Give me the bulldog on the side. Browns, hire me. I just made you $1 million extra on your jersey sales. You're welcome. Let's see here. Oh, Amber M. Amber M, good to hear, but my day is going okay. Tomorrow I get my wisdom teeth. Uh-oh. Good luck. Good luck. I've had mine taken out. I mean, you got your license, so you got this, girl. You got the license. You didn't kill your driver that was in the car with you. You didn't, run over any people or maybe hit some speed bumps, maybe ran into a couple cars, but you passed the test, right? You're good. You got it. You just have like the cotton balls, jammed in there, a little bleeding, and They probably give you some meds and, how you doing? Keep it moving, I hope it'll take a little while to recover. I remember that process. All four. I had all mine taken out, I think, at the same time too. These weaklings, they get 1 or 2. Yeah. Then you get all of them. I mean, they're definitely putting you under. That's for sure. All right, here we go. A guy, Raiders. ESPN pushes an agenda that they care less about sports anymore. That's the biggest reason they have been bleeding out viewers for 10 plus years. And that's facts. I haven't watched ESPN really in like 10 or 12 years. And I used to be a big fan, big fan. ESPN, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, but a lot of the stuff is just like, it's like fake to me. It's like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, or The Real Housewives of wherever in America. You just get these certain shows that are just so predetermined and fake, and they'll be like, "Oh, your wrestling's fake, Orion." Yeah, we know who the winner is going to be because they pick the winners. But everything that happens from the entrance to the point of the pin, sometimes things go haywire a little bit. Sometimes guys tear ACLs or girls. Sometimes moves get botched. Sometimes you vibe with the crowd and it kind of have a little bit of improv there. So with some of the other things, I just think with ESPN, I mean, they need a fresh face. They need, to have people that are real. Like right now, the most popular podcast, I mean, you got the Joe Rogan that always is about all the topics. Joe Rogan is a personality from Fear Factor to everything that he's done after, making an empire for himself, right? If you like that type of thing, right? Or, if you're looking at Pat McAfee show, like I said, at one point I want to call in. I feel if I would call in, they would remember me. Obviously I got a unique voice. I got a good sports take, but I have to work on all my jobs in the morning where I can't sneak away and call in. But Pat McAfee show, he's real. I feel I'm real. Calls it right down the middle. He's got good connections with Colts players, Aaron Rodgers, and, has a good cast of friends like Boston Connor and, a lot of these other guys that they're able to bring on. And it's a good show. I like it. It's real. It's raw. It's entertaining. I like it. And like I said, as you know, if you're a fan of this channel, it's real. It's raw. It's fun. Like I said, I'm going to have a lot of guests on the show, a lot of co-hosts on the show. But people like real. People don't like fake. Pat McAfee is a real motherfucker. This guy was a punter, a great one at that, right? And he is the #1 guy. Now he's even doing SmackDown. All right. He's a co-announcer with Michael Cole, the greatest of all time. So it shows you, if you're a real one, I mean, Vince knew the ratings and how that was going to go. But if you're real, I mean, Good Morning Football is fantastic, but it's a little PG, but I still love it. You got Kyle Brandt. He knows everything, that's in kind of the entertainment world. Very smart, pass running back in college. Schrager's the nerd, but he knows everything, which I love. Stats and all, just that geeky, nerdy football guy, but just knows everything. Love it. All right. Then you got Kay. She does the fantasy football, loves the Saints, loves the Bears. She'll give her female perspective. Love it. Then you get the former player, Nate Burleson, wide receiver, played with Randy Moss, played on the Lions with Stafford, so it's a good blend. You know what I mean? That's a little bit different of a blend. It's more of like corporate America blend, but it works because they just vibe off each other very, very well. I like it. They got Will Silva on there and a lot of other people, as we know, as the football reporters like to chime in and come in on the show. But yeah, I mean, Skip and Shannon, I can't watch it. I can't watch a lot of the shows because it's just too fake of a subject. And you're right. It's like people want to get internet famous so bad on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They're willing to sell their souls just to get famous for like a day, a week, a year, some kind of, TikTok trend or, some kind of internet meme or GIF or, whatever it is. It's like people are so thirsty to be able to be famous. They're not willing to work hard for it. So like for me, I know I'm going to work harder than anyone, put in the time and the effort. So it's like when other guys get famous or they're making money or maybe they're doing better numbers wise, or views wise or subs wise than me on the channel. I don't focus on other people. Everyone's got a journey. And like I said, as long as that you love something, you're passionate, you give it your all, you're real, you know how to connect with people, you're going to be able to be successful at something. And like I said, I know I have a lane, and at some point, you're going to get a higher up. If you type in any football game on YouTube, you're going to find me at some point, you know what I mean? And so I think there's some opportunity that's going to be popping up here probably within the next 5 years or sooner, I would assume. But I want to build a legacy here on this channel. You guys are the best fans on planet Earth. And I think, like I said, John Cena follows me. Jose Canseco follows me. I got quite a few famous people that follow, which is kind of cool. But more importantly, it's about just putting out good material, good content. A lot of people have, fire thumbnails, horrible content, fire, green screen, fire editing, fire special effects, but the content's garbage. It's just aesthetics. It just looks. So, it's really about the content. You know what I mean? Obviously, the presentation is very, very important as well. And that's why, you guys are the best fans on planet Earth. I'll do anything for you guys. And just bringing the football family together is great. I'm hoping to, improve from, just under the 20,000 mark, somewhere between 21 and 22. Obviously, the next goal would be 25K, then 30, but it all depends on YouTube and y'all. If you guys can help share, the page, get more people to subscribe to the channel that you think that would enjoy the football, the NFL, the college football, NBA, baseball, wrestling, all of the above. Getting closer to the 4 million view mark, which is great. And then obviously going from like 1,100 videos in the library, we'll get closer to 1,500 to 2,000, 100,000, 200,000 hours put into the channel. 6 hours a day after my regular job, doing the film study and the research. But the fans, you guys, just having the opinions and being able to come together, you're not going to find, I think, content from every single team in the NFL anywhere else. A lot of y'all know it. We just need to be able to get the numbers up, support each other. Anyone's got a dream, I'm down. I'm down to support, and I'm excited for this season. It's going to be fantastic. But ESPN does push the agenda. That's why I don't watch them anymore. They need new people. Like if they had people like me and like Pat McAfee, and you had like some other people, on there. Oh man, you could bring ESPN back. I mean, you could actually get them back to where they were. But are they ever going to go for talents or people that have characteristic traits, like a me or like a Pat McAfee? Who knows? You know what I mean? There's kind of corporate America. Don't think I would want to work for them. You know what I mean? And definitely, I wouldn't want to be able to have to stop swearing. Fuck, shit, bitch, damn. That's a part of my vocabulary as a football fan. You know what I mean? I can't be going on network TV and not being able to say fuck, shit, damn, bitch. I don't know. Just can't do it, man. Can't sell out. Can't sell out. This is a good one. Thoughts on Ewers, Orion? I don't think he'll start, but he could by the playoffs. I'll tell you what. The Ohio State University's got problems with Zeke and guys like Michael Thomas that won't call back his team, or Sean Payton for months, and he's going to be at a divorce stage and out of Nolens sooner than later. But for Ewers, Ohio State, the Ohio State University, the mullet, all right? The magnificent mullet. I mean, we thought Gardner Minshew had great hair, and, you got Trevor Lawrence with great hair. If you can rock a mullet and you got the sidearm like Mahomes, I'm telling you, the future of the NFL is going to be Ewers. And guess what? It's going to be your boy, Arch Manning. When Arch Manning gets to the league, you watch out. Just like when I told y'all LaMelo, once he came to the league, it was going to be just like a Trae Young situation, a Seth Curry situation. You can tell Ewers at Ohio State and Arch Manning, depending on where he goes, probably in Alabama or something like that. I'll tell you what. I will tell you what, Arch Manning, if you haven't seen highlights of Arch Manning, you got, Cooper, you got Peyton, you got Eli, you got Archie, you got the Manning family. This kid, they say, could be on the Peyton Manning level, higher than Archie, higher than Eli. That's what they're saying. Maybe not as good as Peyton, but very close, like above Eli. That's a damn good quarterback. So I can't wait to see an Arch Manning. That's the kind of guy I would want to grow with. On the Tampa Bay Buccaneers post Tom Brady. Arch Manning, yeah, sign me up. Ewers with the mullet has a little bit more to prove, but obviously if you got Peyton, Eli, and Archie in your corner, you are going to be successful with all those extra pieces of knowledge, of diet, workout regimen, just getting the football terminology and the film from Eli, Archie, and Peyton. No one else is lined up for better success. Will he bust? Absolutely not. And both guys could be number one picks in the draft once they go through their high school to college boost here. So in a few years, these are the quarterbacks that we're going to be talking about. I can't wait. Your boy watches a lot of football. Spencer Rattler this year, watch out. Oklahoma, super stud quarterback. Not sure if he can bring the Texans to be relevant, but he can actually put them back on the map after the Deshaun Watson fiasco gets over with, where you can actually have a guy where people will buy the Spencer Rattler jersey. Definitely going to struggle, though, because the head coach and the organization sucks. They don't have any weapons. Offense, defense blows. But to start off with a franchise QB, it won't be like a David Carr. This guy's got a little bit more talent. That's big facts. Hybrid in the building. Messi on PSG with Neymar Bebe. Saw that. Saw him cry. Obviously said he would take half of his salary. They still couldn't work it out. So that's what happens in sports. You know what I mean? Your boy follows. I mean, I'm on Twitter. That's my favorite app. I'm on there 24/7 all the time. So I'm always reading. I'm always watching film. I'm always seeing the GIFs and the memes. But Twitter, as far as information, If you guys don't have a Twitter, I recommend signing up for Twitter. You get a lot of news in one spot. So instead of having to go to like NFL app, ESPN app, Bleacher app, and all these apps, right, on your phone, I have a pattern that I kind of go through: Facebook, Snapchat, you're kind of going through each one, Instagram, NFL app, and then, some of these others, MLB app. But if you go to Twitter, you get everything all in one spot. And that's where I like to go to get all the news. And, I learn a lot. I read a lot there. That's really a good spot. So if you guys ever want to follow me on there, just Northwest Sports Fanatics there on Twitter, I'd recommend it. You know what I mean? I probably retweet anywhere between 5 and 20 things a day. So I'm always doing it for the stuff that's important. So, some people will just like things on Twitter. I retweet it so people can come to my page and get all of today's news right in that one day. And just one, you click on my Twitter profile, it's all there. You're going to get the best memes, the best gifts, the sport information. I got it on lock. I mean, like I said, I think I've tweeted like 60,000 times. And I don't really do like follow trains to get a bunch of followers. Sometimes you get these bots and you'll see people that have like 10,000 followers on Twitter, but they're like, who are they? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not really worried about that sense of it. I usually use it just more as a reference guide. But yeah, if you guys want to go on there, Orion_NWSF, just Northwest Sports Fanatics, follow me on there. I'm most active on there. On the Instagram a little bit more, but Twitter, if you want to get a hold of me on there, that's where I'm on pretty much 24/7 if I'm not doing the YouTube thing. And that's big facts. Let's see here. Appreciate every single one of y'all. You guys, I love you and appreciate you. This NFL season is going to be fan-fucking-tastic. All right, see you guys talking about the insurance and the teeth getting pulled out. Zini Panini, my girl, fantasy football champion. Defense is way more fun to watch for me too. It just, I don't know. I mean, some guys are defensive guys. It depends on what kind of defensive legends you've had to shape you and the way you're thinking. So, I mean, if you have guys, like if you're an Eagles person, like, you are an Eagles fan, not just as a female, but just in general, probably maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But obviously in that Reggie White era, that really showed you what football was about. Reggie White, back with the Eagles before he went with Brett Favre and the Packers to win the Super Bowl. Reggie White was like the guy. You know what I mean? You had Bruce Smith, who was a legend as well. But, I mean, there's a reason why with sacks, Reggie White, he's always up there. Fantastic player. But defense, and, my favorite on your guys' defense of all time, and it never, ever, ever will change. He's one of my favorites of all time, Brian Dawkins. I think Brian Dawkins is so respected. He could have played on Tampa Bay. Same kind of intensity as Warren Sapp or Derek Brooks or John Lynch or Rondé Barber. Absolutely love them. I love Ed Reed and I love Troy Polamalu in another way. Those guys are more pick six guys, but I like him because he reminds me of, a brother, John Lynch, a hard-hitting mofo that don't give a shit about anything, that is a leader. People fear him. Definitely Dawkins and Lynch back in that era. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, for me, like, that's the thing that I enjoyed the most. Not Donovan McNabb, not T.O., not necessarily Andy Reid. It was Brian Dawkins. I mean, like I said, I'm a safety guy too. So remember, it's like linebackers, safeties, corners. Those are my favorite of all time besides offensive line. So, I mean, if you're good at safety or corner or linebacker, nothing against D tackles or D ends. I mean, if you're like a Warren Sapp, of course, I'm going to love you, but defense it's the way to go, man. Said, did you check out the Hall of Fame induction last night? My guy Harold Carmichael finally getting the recognition. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously I try to watch as much, NFL Network since now I'm in the studio. I got all the access and I got the Raiders from Vegas on TV right now. They are going to struggle. Defense is going to be a big issue. Offensive line as well, but that's for another comment as well that we'll go into. But yeah, Eagles fans, and you got to be excited. A lot of these older guys, it takes a while for them to get in. Like even like an Isaac Bruce, taking a little while to get in. I mean, some guys, John Lynch even should have been in years ago. I mean, we should have Rondé, John Lynch, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, all in already, right? Simeon Rice, borderline. Right. And Mike Allstott, all these guys should already be in. I mean, and then on top of the good players we had, like Keyshawn, Keenan McCardell, Joe Juravicius, Ken Dilger, not naming those guys, Michael Pittman, because they're not Hall of Fame level, but Mike Allstott, I mean, that's the greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneer on offense besides sliced bread Tom Brady. Let me tell you, Mike Allstott, A-Train. Go back and watch some highlights of A-Train. You would have loved to have that motherfucker on your team. Great. Played great in the Pro Bowls when people weren't playing. Played great in the Super Bowls. Ran over people. There'll never be another Mike Allstott. Just that big white fullback / halfback. He ended up being our full-time fullback, halfback at certain points too, which is Crazy, to think. And then having the Warwick Dunn Mike Allstott combo, if you guys remember that. If you guys are older, more than likely you guys probably played Madden with the Buccaneers when we had Sapp and Brooks and Lynch, if you're a little bit older like me. Because it was a fun team to play with. Allstott, pound the rock, right? And then you got all those amazing Hall of Famers on defense. Oh, that's just me. I know a lot of people would say, hey, man, I used to always play with the Buccaneers back in the day. Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. They were fun. Absolutely. A hybrid with a good question. And again, I don't skip anybody, so I'm always here, going through. Might take me a little bit of time, but, just trying to, have a good time here on a Sunday. Hybrid says, how do you feel about Travis Etienne, AK-41 2.0? Absolutely. To put him in the AK-41 category right away, I mean, he's got to earn it, but we've seen what him, and Trevor Lawrence, what he can do when they played in college together at Clemson. So give it time. You know what I mean? It usually takes a couple years, and obviously they'll get better players and free agency in the draft. But he's not going to be a top 5 running back this season if you're wanting to compare AK-41, because AK-41 is a top 5 running back in this league. But ETN can definitely make a presence known. He can catch the ball. He can run. I'm not sure if you're ever going to be able to have someone like AK-41. He's kind of a one of a kind. But ETN, I think, can be a good starting running back. But remember, also with the Jags, they had James Robinson. So it's not the carries are going to be probably split, with a lot of these guys that they have at running back and tight end, wide receiver. We'll see where it goes. Tess with some encouraging words. Please support the channel. Help Ryan to keep it growing. You can do the Patreon. You can do, I'm not sure even with the Patreon. I probably have to update it because I don't even know. But mostly right now, any type of help with donations on the YouTube Super Chat or the Cash App, that's at least going to go to me. Obviously, YouTube gets a portion when you do the Super Chat. If I get a Cash App donation, I get pretty much all of it, which is nice. But sometimes people want to donate on YouTube so that way they can see the message pop up on the screen while I do that. I get it. I'm always going to shout you out either way. But appreciate it. Tess, kind words. Davy 84 in the building. Let's see what Davy has to say. The Cowboys finna 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 be nasty. Well, their offense will be, but what about their defense? That's the question with Dan Quinn. And the offensive line, big question marks. Don't like Mike McCarthy at all. Need to fire his ass. Not the right guy. Not going to be the guy that's going to lead you to the Super Bowl and win. If you want to get to the playoffs, you're going to have to get someone, in my opinion, better. But we'll see what kind of leash Jerry Jones has. But with Dak playing healthy a full season, he can make McCarthy look good by really not being maybe an elite coach. Just, Dak Prescott is back. So we'll see. He said, we dominated the Rams in our joint practice. Yeah, it's training camp practice, though. Come on, Davi. If the Cowboys make the playoffs and they win, right, the NFC East over Washington, more balanced football team on offense and defense, and you got Fitzmagic, okay? The Giants, we don't know about Danny Dimes, but the rest of the roster and the coaching staff looks good, besides the guys that quit after they had to do push-ups, right? Discipline, Giants players don't like it, but Joe Judge will help them become a winner. And the Eagles, not a lot of expectations, kind of at the bottom of the division, but could surprise people depending on what kind of play we get from Hurts or if they trade for Deshaun Watson or not. But Rams are going to be a better football team than the Cowboys because they have more balance on offense and defense. They got a better head coach in Sean McVay. They got a better quarterback, you could argue, and Stafford. I still think Dak is an amazing quarterback. I like him. I think both are top 10 quarterbacks in this league, Dak and Matthew Stafford. But one guy's got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, and the other one has got Micah Parsons, who's great, DeMarcus Lawrence. You got a few guys, but defense was, arguably one of the worst in the NFL last year. No, of all time. So there's going to be a lot of things that need to happen for the Cowboys to be trusted. You're going from horrible to hopefully bad or average defense, right? With the Rams, they already have a top 5 defense, and they got a top 2 coach, in my opinion, and Sean McVay. So I don't like McCarthy at all, but I do like Dan Quinn. So you got that going for you. The Cowboys, if they stay healthy, they can win the NFC East. Facts. They can still do it with a booty defense and a great offense. CeeDee Lamb, amazing. Love him, right? Michael Gallup, improving every single year, right? And also you got Amari Cooper, the most boring elite wide receiver of all time. Nothing flashy, no touchdown dances. Hand the ball to the referee, the Marvin Harrison of this generation, but more boring to watch. But guess what? He gets it done. And when it's one-on-one coverage with his routes, he's tough to stop. We remember him many places. Alabama, Roll Tide, right? Raiders, right? Cowboys. See where it goes. Big thing is Zeke, too. Zeke's health, right? and actually scoring touchdowns and being dominant, but the offensive line is no longer the same, as we know with the players that they have, with like Smith and Travis Frederick and everything that's happened with the roster. But we will see. We will see. Hybrid, LeBron came back 3-1. Tom Brady came back from 28-3. I think 28-3 in a Super Bowl, though, when you get down by even 10 points or more in the Super Bowl, you're usually fucked. It's not easy to come back. Like if you look at the stats, if you get down by, I think, 10 points or more, the team that comes back, it's like one out of like, one win and like 90 losses. It's like once you end up, that's not the exact number, but you know what I mean? It's like, once you get down by 10 points, it's almost impossible to come back in a Super Bowl, and at least in, recent years, unless you're one of like the special teams that can come back like a 28-3. But usually once you're in at halftime, the momentum is tough in the Super Bowl to overcome. You can overcome an AFC, NFC championship game, right? And the regular season, preseason. But when it comes to the Super Bowl and all that pressure and knowing that all those people are watching and the momentum, Uncle Mo, someone call 911, right? Uncle Mo. Once you get down by 10 in the Super Bowl, it's almost impossible to come back. And unless you got an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or, one of the elites, that's facts. Patrick Mahomes, exactly. Almighty in the building, what to do? Respect to Orion for understanding that Brady Belichick have cheated and doesn't stand for it or ignore or deny it. I am the GOAT. I'm the fucking GOAT. See, and a lot of times if you get biased and you're not real with yourself or real with people, I could be like, oh, Tom Brady, he never cheated. He got me a ring in Tampa. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, Champa Bay. I'm the best. You guys suck. You know what I mean? They all let shit get to their heads. It's like if the facts are out there, no matter how much winning you do, you get crucified. Think about it. Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, and even though, maybe they hate on the colored players a little bit more, like a Sammy Sosa hated on him more, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Mark McGuire being the Caucasian guy still gets hated. But let's be honest with ourselves. He doesn't get hated as much as Bonds, right? Or Sammy Sosa, even though he did the whole Michael Jackson switch the face thing going from black to white. I don't know if you guys have seen Sammy Sosa in a picture within the last couple of years, but he don't look black anymore or Puerto Rican. I mean, he's got like a Michael Jackson white face. Very interesting. Very, very odd. But hey, if guys cheat, right, you got to be real with yourself. I mean, it tarnishes the legacy. Lance Armstrong, all these people that we think that are elite or great, you got to be able to be like the Michael Jordan, like the Kobe Bryant, the Ken Griffey Jr. Maybe you get fat a little bit like Griffey did. Maybe you get injured, right? But you did it the right way. I mean, people are going to respect that a lot more. And even though Brady won me a Super Bowl and I absolutely fucking love that, I'm more happy for the offensive line. Guys like Levante David that stuck around and they kept around, just for the defensive coordinator, the O-line, the defense. Obviously I'm a defensive guy and an O-line guy. But, to be able to have him reunite with Gronk and have AB there, fun. Already having Mike Evans and Godwin, I add that. I already have O.J. Howard there and Cameron Brayton. I add those pieces. And then get Tristan Wirfs, one of the best offensive linemen moving forward, probably will be a Hall of Famer. Antoine Winfield Jr., are you kidding me? So, it's exciting. And then my boy right here with the jersey I got on, Devin White, Absolutely. All right, I'm trying to catch up here. There's a lot of people. Hybrid, A guy. Facts. It is. And it talks about a lot of stuff. Some people love him. Some people hate him. I mean, I've always been a Rogan guy, even prior to UFC and Fear Factor. I don't know. Some of you old heads will know what I'm talking about. Maybe you youngins, Fear Factor. What the fuck is that? Well, it's a very good show that used to be on TV. Joe Rogan is a stud, period. And obviously with everything that he's been able to do, it's all him, man. Shout out to him, Joe Rogan. I don't listen on a daily basis to anything like that, more of the Good Morning Football and Pat McAfee show. But from the ones that I have heard and from my friends that do watch, it's, there's a reason why he is like the number one overall podcast I think that's downloaded. Davi. It feels like the longest offseason into NFLC I think I've ever felt. It is every year. Imagine someone like me that reads and, eats, breathes, and shits NFL 24/7. I'm on Twitter 24 hours a day. I got a full-time job and I got the YouTube full-time job. I'm a fantasy football fucking guru, so I got to be all over that. I mean, it's NFL is just, if you love it, you got to find little tidbits, like even inside training camp. You got to be able to immerse yourself around old games from last year, anything in training camp. That's how you get smarter as a fan. And you actually know what you're talking about instead of just throwing out hot takes, or things that you think or maybe think or someone told you on social media, so you're just rolling with it, Right here, Arch Manning. Arch, I'm telling you, it's the future. That is the future of the NFL. Your boy goes all the way back, junior high, high school. Like I said, I watch the film, I read the articles. I'm in tune with anything and everything, college football and NFL, all 32 teams, college teams. I'm there. I'm your guy. You want the news? I got it. Message from a Golden Eagle. What up, Ryan? NWSF, 3 rings for this Manning kid. I'm not sure if you want to go 3 rings, but I mean, depending on if he goes to the AFC or the NFC, he could be the Patrick Mahomes in the NFC, the Super Bowl matchup that we want. Arch Manning, Pat Mahomes. Yes, please. Just put Arch Manning on Tampa Bay. Arch Manning on Tampa Bay, yeah. But he's going to go to definitely one of the booty teams at some point, but maybe that's what the Lions would need to be able to be successful. Maybe Arch Manning goes to the Lions at some point, and that's the guy that gets them out of the hole. That's what you need, though. You know what I mean? A superstar stud like that to put a team on the back, and then people can be proud of Detroit again. You know what I mean? Not have them be the bottom feeder, because obviously Houston Texans are going to be bad, but Detroit for years has been on the bottom with like the Bengals, but now they got Burrow and they got some pieces there with their Fab Five. Still need a better coach. Taylor's garbage, O-line garbage, defense garbage, except for Jesse Bates III. Love him. Fire safety, one of the best in the league, up and coming. But Arch Manning, though. Arch Manning. Sarah Small in the building. Your boy got paid. Carson Wentz. It's definitely sad. Sarah Small, obviously, we know with the Colts, your fan base there is crushed. And then you had the Quentin Nelson, the best offensive lineman in the game. Same thing. If you guys don't make the playoffs this year, it might end up benefiting you long term. If you guys can, recover quickly and find a way. Like I said, you can make the playoffs, but I just think with these injuries and everything that's going on, it's just might have to wait till next year. I mean, it's early. They still got time to try to get it recovered, but with so much competition in the AFC, it's not looking too good unless we get a healthy Carson for the rest of the year, as well as a Quentin Nelson, and that might not happen. Message from a Golden Eagle. Eagles defense looking promising, getting better and better each day. Absolutely. Follow Orion, Twitter.com. Orion_NWSF. Dawkins, seriously, my favorite Eagle of all time. He has a no-nonsense kind of guy and inspired the whole team. Those speeches give me chills. Absolutely. That's why he's my favorite Eagle of all time, too, as well. Facts. I just love players like that. Allstott is a Viking ancestry. Damn right he is. Tess doing the work for me today as a mod. Thank you so much. Shouting out the Instagram, shouting out the Twitter. Appreciate you. And I'm getting closer and closer to the bottom here. So don't get discouraged. I make my way through everybody. A guy, Raiders. I see all kinds of talk of who the Raiders signed on defense in the offseason. By my opinion, they're all backups. McCoy is a good signing, but he's old now. Actually, Trayvon Moehrig, a guy. I follow the Raiders very closely. They're on TV right now on obviously now they just switched over to the Seahawks. But Trayvon Moehrig, best safety in football, TCU, he's going to be a good one. And like I said, you guys drafted too many safeties. You got to have injuries at safety, and Cleveland Farrell needs to do something. I mean, a lot of the guys have, sparked some potential, but the defense needs a lot of work. The O-line needs work. Like I said, I love Carr, top 15 quarterback, right? Darren Waller, Raiders, top 3 tight end. I truly do believe that. You could put him at number 3 easily. And then a running back. Top 12, top 10 running back, and Josh Jacobs. Raiders. All right. Offensive line, though, and the coaching, Mayock, Gruden, not sure if they're really the right ones, but their contract seems like they're probably going to be there. So they better make sure they get an O-line that is young and athletic and building that defense and getting those pieces in there. But at this point, they kind of feel to me they're going to finish 3rd or 4th. Chiefs will finish AFC West first. Chargers second with probably around 10 wins, getting into a wild card, 10 or 11. And then I got the Broncos and the Raiders kind of battling out for that third spot and fourth spot. Unless we get some kind of craziness that happens. But I mean, like I said, the Broncos also have a lot of good skill players, but they have Drew Lock or Bridgewater. They need someone better. People think that they need someone better than Carr. I think you can run with Carr. I like him. I think you just need to improve the offensive line and the defense. Look at Baker. You improve the offensive line and the defense, and you don't have to be, elite. You can be a top 15 quarterback and still make a deep run in the AFC or the NFC. It's facts. Michael Pierpont in the building. What to do? He sent me some fantasy football information like only some of the elites do to get my opinion on it. Obviously, we have all opinions about fantasy football rankings, which I'll be doing the Northwest Sports Fanatics annual fantasy football league. There'll be 8 spots open. So I will announce that as we get closer to the end of preseason to make sure that none of the stars get injured so we can draft appropriately right before the season starts. I know a lot of people like to do it early, but if you end up having one of your stars, they get injured at ACL in the 3rd week of preseason, I like to prevent some of that heartache before, as we go along in the season, maybe have some heartache after you draft horribly, and then, go from there. But I usually finish in the top 3. People will donate money each week for me to set their lineups or get guys on their bench that are better. Obviously, that'll continue this season for the Cash App as well. Like I said, I have good history. I usually can win a championship, get first, second, or third in an 8, 10, 12, 14-man league. I do more transactions than anyone in planet Earth. Usually when I do NFL fantasy football, I usually do 200 to 500 transactions. That's a lot. So, I mean, I'm really making transactions every week in the middle of the night, making the best possible bench team that could be a starting second team. You really got to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's. No one's going to outwork me on that. And I think I have it proven. It's going to be fun this year for fantasy football. I got a couple experts that I know that come to me and that I know that they are very successful. Kelsey, one of them, a female Seahawk fan. Definitely she's going to be on the show to do fantasy football with me on here as well. I'll go over the Seahawks. She's a big 12th man member. I got my boy Marcos, 12th man, and I got my boy Corey Parrish, 12th man. So I got 3 Seahawk representatives on the channel, but with her, she does some fantasy football. She's good at it. And also on the flip side, I got my boy Chris Smiley, lives in Idaho, Montana area. And hopefully I can get him, maybe by getting the YouTube channel up. I don't know if he's got good internet out there or if he'd be able to do it or not. But usually I talk to him every week. We're on that fantasy football tip and really, really digging deep. And these leagues are not like free leagues. I mean, it's usually like 100, 150 buy-in, 10 or 12 people are in it. First place wins like $800, $900. Second place, maybe 300 or 400. Third place, you get your money back and you're 100 or 150. So I have to make sure that people are paying me and I'm trying to win. I'm trying to get top 3 every year, championship, let alone. But if only the strong, consistent people know the secrets. So we'll reveal some of those secrets as well as getting the donations on the YouTube Super Chat and the Cash App. Because if you want to win money, you can do these free leagues and friend leagues. But if you got money involved, why not take it super serious? I mean, if $800 or $900 is on the line, not only do you get the respect or maybe a trophy or a belt at the end or a t-shirt or a hoodie, all right, that shit takes a lot of work. It's not easy to be good at fantasy football. That's facts. Just because you know football doesn't mean you're going to be good at fantasy football. Facts. Anyone that plays fantasy football heavy will tell you that. Just because someone, dominates on the screen, right, in the highlight reel, there's going to be other guys that are going to be much, much better, more than likely. Unless we're talking about like a Patrick Mahomes. Michael Pierpont, my boy, in the building. What to do? You make fantasy rankings this year? I can. I don't know. A lot of people will copy. Like I said, I haven't got a Super Bowl winner wrong in like 20 years. I take fantasy football, NFL, college football, anything football serious. Predictions usually come true a lot of times. I told you I got the ESP. Probably will be doing some kind of fantasy ranking. So I can give you guys my perspective on kind of how I see it. I mean, it's like you got to think about quarterbacks that are passing friendly, guys that don't turn over the football, guys that aren't going to get hurt at running back or more least likely to get hurt, guys that are going to get the targets at wide receiver, the opportunity when you do drafting that you don't go for Patrick Mahomes in the first round. I mean, if you do, you'll have that piece and that'll give you consistent points, but you're really going to be hurting at the running back position because a lot of the top running backs go obviously in the first round because there's not a lot of them. So after you get like 8 running backs in, there's a huge drop off. So if you go wide receiver or quarterback in the first round, you might get like the 9th or 10th best running back And that might not be that of a good one. That might be like an RB2 or a flex. So you really got to be able to have that pattern: running back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, or a wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, running back. You have to kind of play it out. Obviously, at some point, people will go for a Mahomes or a Russell or an Aaron. If they start going off the board, I get it. But there's a mentality too. Tight end position isn't super deep. So you'll have the Kittle and you'll have the obviously the Waller, Raiders, and the Kelsey. You have those top three. But then if you don't get those, you'll have the Mark Andrews, you'll have the Kyle Pitts. There'll be other guys that you can get to build up the wide receivers and the running backs. That's what you need to do. Not draft a kicker too early, not a defense too early. Really load up on certain positions. But again, everyone has kind of a method to the madness. The difference is between my method, and other people's methods. I do more transactions. I do more reading, more film study already for the Northwest Sports Fanatics. So I give you those sleeper guys like the Nelson Aguilars last year that started breaking out and getting them early rather than late and cashing in on points, for guys that you need, with injuries or just to have another stud that is just really lighting it up. And that was one of them last season, Nelson Aguilar for the Raiders. He was great. Now he'll be on the Patriots and we'll see what he does. With Hightower getting injured, Ryan, should we consider trying to sign wide receiver Washington from Pittsburgh? I saw that. Saints could definitely use James Washington. He's decent, wide receiver. There's a lot of traffic ahead of you. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster. Damn, that's tough. But I think that if Washington, they were allowed to, let him go, Pittsburgh, the Saints really need a wide receiver. Let's be real. Out of any team that needs wide receivers, it's the Saints. So that would be my number one choice. But I get it. There's a lot of guys getting hurt. But if you're a fourth option wide receiver, chances are Juju, Deontay Johnson, and Chase Claypool will get hurt, or one of them will. So then if you could throw in a James Washington, you feel good. You're like, you went from maybe a A-, B+ wide receivers to a B wide receiver. Or a B- wide receiver, not like a D receiver where you're like, fuck, we're screwed. You know what I mean? So at this point, I don't think that he's going anywhere. So, but we will have to wait and see. Rookie tight ends, are you looking forward to, or even year 2 tight ends? This tight end class, not really looking at anyone. If anyone breaks out, great. You know what I mean? But there's not really anyone, besides Kyle Pitts. That's the obvious one, but I don't even really consider him a tight end. He's more of like a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like he is this like Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce hybrid, all in one. Could be the most athletic tight end that we've ever seen, ever. Shannon Sharp and Tony Gonzalez and Travis Kelce and George Kittle all merged into one body. And then you sprinkle a little OBJ and then boom, you get Kyle Pitts. So besides him, I consider him more of a wide receiver tight end, but yes, he is a tight end. That's the one to look at. I think Hawkinson, I think right now is something to look at. Obviously, we already know with Darren Waller and Mark Andrews, they've solidified themselves behind Kelsey and Kittle, right? Third place, fourth place ranking, somewhere in there. Pitts could be number 5. But another one that I really like that people don't show a lot of love is who? Dallas Goedert. Zach Ertz, so bad it hurt. Zach Ertz was number 3 tight end for years. Sometimes he was number 2, number 3, just back and forth with like Kelsey and Kittle and some of the other tight ends. But now he's dropped out of the top 5. I think Goddard at this point is better, younger, more motivated. But we'll see if he ends up getting the opportunities, which he should, because obviously with Devontae Smith, Heisman being injured, you're going to go to a heavy Miles Sanders. You're hoping that your O-line stays healthy for the Eagles. Devontae Smith will be one of the main targets, but the safety check down, the little safety net, that's Dallas Goedert. So I really expect him to really break out this season, and we could be saying his name as being a top 5 tight end. Obviously, Kyle Pitts will be amazing, and he'll be in that top 5 for years to come. But you got Kelsey, you got Kittle, you got Waller, Raiders, Mark Andrews, Pitts, and then Goddard. I think those are my guys. But TJ Hawkinson would be another guy to keep a lookout for. Jared Goff and the offense should blow. They should be horrible. But no more Marvin Jones, no more Kenny Golladay. You can hand the ball off to like a DeAndre Swift, things like that. But who are you throwing to? Rookies, Amon St. Brown, right? From USC. He's going to get a lot of targets. He's going to be very active. TJ Hawkinson's got to be that guy. He's got to be like the Tony Gonzalez of the Lions. And if he can get like 10 touchdowns, maybe we can start considering him, being a top 7, top 8 tight end and maybe climbing up to the top 5 category. But it's very competitive at the top. You have to be very, very good to crack that top 5, especially if you have guys like Dallas Goedert and Kyle Pitts right there. You got to be on that level or pretty damn close or better. So, but I do believe in Goddard. I do believe in Pitts. And like I said, the one tight end that's a sleeper this season that I really like is Ferkser for the Tennessee Titans. Because if you watch Jonnu Smith, he was a nobody. And he ended up being like a top 5 tight end last year in fantasy football. And on top of that, he was just very reliable. Like him and A.J. Brown would score touchdowns almost every single game. So I know Ryan Tannehill, he's my favorite quarterback that's not a superstar in this league. And I honestly mean that. Out of all the quarterbacks in the league, obviously Tom Brady's on my team now. Tannehill was the one that I wanted. If he was going to leave Tennessee, that would have been my guy, him or Brady. And I think Tannehill, being a wide receiver from A&M and transitioning into quarterback and playing with horrible coaches and, druggy guys like Adam Gase with his crooked eye and, is finding himself, finally getting an opportunity and booting out my guy, Marcus Mariota from Oregon, the Heisman winner, right? And I don't think his career is over either. If he goes to the Patriots, he could revitalize his career. Right time, right opportunity. But Tannehill's the guy that loves tight ends. So I think that the Titans are going to be overlooked. I think they can be the 4th best team in the AFC, maybe even better than the Bills, or the Browns, depending on how that offense clicks. Should be amazing to watch. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, arguably the best running back in the game. Julio Jones, top 6 wide receiver. A.J. Brown, top 6 wide receiver. So that's nice. And Ryan Tannehill, top 10 quarterback. I got him around 8 or 9 overall. I think he's that good. I would take him over guys like Kyler, Lamar. I know that's maybe shocking to some of y'all. I mean, I think he's that good. I mean, I think Mahomes is there at the top. You're not taking him over him, Tannehill. You got Mahomes. You got Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, whatever way that you guys want to go. They're interchangeable. They're both fantastic. All right. Based off what we saw last season, you probably would go Mahomes, Rodgers, Wilson, Deshaun Watson when he's playing. And then 5th is Josh Allen. After that, then you got guys like Lamar Jackson. Who else? Ryan Tannehill. Who else? Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, and some of the other, quarterbacks that are in the league. But everyone's got a preference. But I think Tannehill doesn't get the recognition, but I absolutely love him. So look for Ferkser, not only to be a fantasy football sleeper, stealer, because your boy's on it. If he has similar stats to Jonnu Smith last season, watch out. That could actually help you win a fantasy football league. And sometimes you have to go tight end as your flex. And if you end up getting a guy that is money, it can help you win in a week. I've had it before where I've had 2 tight ends instead of a 3rd running back or a 3rd wide receiver, both hit, and I ended up getting like 40 points between both guys, helped me win. So, I mean, sometimes you got to have depth at tight end. You got to have depth there, right? And that's why certain running backs, you got to have depth there because there's not a lot of them that are good. There's 1st tier, 2nd tier, and it just drops off the face of the earth. Tight ends, the elite, the good, big drop off. So if you don't get a tight end or your running backs figured out in fantasy football, you're fucked. That's why it's good to have like 2-3 tight ends, have options, get them. Get the depth there, right? And then running backs, get as many as you can. But then also, too, if you get too many, then you miss out on the elite wide receivers that can help you win a fantasy football league like Stephon Diggs. Facts. So you got to be really careful on what you do. I should write a book. You should pay me. Fantasy football, I got it. If you love football, if you love your family, if you love your friends, share this channel, baby. We're trying to get this over 20K again. So once I hit 20K, we'll be doing a giveaway. All right. Another NFL sewn jersey. So help your boy. You know what I mean? All I'm trying to do is just show my grind, show my passion, cover all 32 teams. If people want to take their sub away, that's fine. I'll just work harder to get the people that will sub and keep it. And tell people and help me grow. We'll go from 20 to hopefully 21 or 22. I just got to gain a couple hundred subs. And I know once the NFL season starts, we will do that. It's going to be fucking fun. Lots of guests, lots of co-hosts. It's going to be fantastic. What's up? All right. Well, I think that was my cue at this point that I am probably going to end the stream. I might end up doing another stream later on today, but I do appreciate you guys. Kyler Murray make the playoffs first. Well, it's either him or Russell Wilson. One of those two for that last spot in the NFC West, and that's big facts. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. NWSF Chain Gang for life. Nice Q&A. I'll probably be back later tonight if I have time. Like I said, maybe around 7 p.m. or so Pacific Standard Time. But I appreciate you guys. Justin Herbert. Absolutely. Justin Herbert's another one of those guys. I got him as a top 10 quarterback, and he could be on the cusp of being the number 5 guy, especially if Deshaun Watson is out. I like Herbert a lot. I mean, it's not just me being, from Oregon, watching him front row behind the duck bench, but a lot of y'all were hating on him and saying that Burrow and Tua were better. And I think we're starting to find out that Herbert is the best one from that draft class. He's the smartest. All right. He can throw the deep ball. You know what I mean? He's very hardworking, and he's a guy, if you build around him, they could win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl today or tomorrow. You know what I mean? They still got to keep guys like Derwin James healthy, and that's going to be a very hard task Keenan Allen isn't getting any younger, but I'll tell you what, the Chargers and their drafting and the players that they brought in, they're looking good long-term, just like the Browns and the Bills. So I think the Chargers can do some big things, but like I said, we've got to be able to have them stay healthy first. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. And I'm out. Peace. Gang, gang, gang.